Cable 11.
The Ottawa Roughriders have been manhandled in their first two games, allowing a total of 94 points against Edmonton and Hamilton. This is Tom Clements with great passing to his favorite receiver last week, Keith Baker, ex of the Montreal Alouettes. And that pass defense will have its work cut out for them tonight, with the brilliant Vince Ferragamo, who showed great clutch passing and catching last week in the victory over Toronto, to Peter Dallariva. Now an excellent catch by James Scott. We present Friday Night Football on CTV, live from Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. The Montreal Alouettes and the Ottawa Roughriders.
This special presentation of CTV's Friday Night Football is presented exclusively on CFCF and is brought to you by O'Keefe, master brewers of O'Keefe Ale, Raleigh, and Carlsberg beers, and by CFCF 12.
Sport O'Keefe, your box seat to the CFL. From kickoff to sign-off, Sport O'Keefe is bringing home the best. This year, the CFL features a full interlocking schedule. There are new stars and familiar favorites in what promises to be the best CFL season yet. Catch all the action from your home box seat. Sport O'Keefe, bringing the CFL home to you.
Watch this old car.
Hey, what is this stuff?
Color Back Finish Restore. You couldn't do this with polish or wax.
Yeah.
We know. We make turtle wax. When the finish is this far gone, wax isn't enough. So we invented Color Back.
Wow.
To wipe away years of neglect.
What is this stuff?
Color Back Finish Restore.
New stuff for an old finish.
There's an air of eager anticipation in this stadium as Lansdowne Park fans await the arrival of the Montreal Alouettes, the highly regarded club in the CFL this year. And it is just an excellent night for the game. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Stevenson, and along with Pat Marsden and Mike Wadsworth, we welcome you once again to Friday Night Football, and an especially great welcome to the viewers of CFCF Television, the home station of the Alouettes, because you're going to see this great squad in action tonight. The question is, it took a game and a half for that offense to really get working, and boy, did they work in the last half against the Toronto Argonauts. Can they keep it up against the Ottawa Roughriders? And as for the Riders, they've had their problems. Can they hang on to the tail of the Alouettes? Well, the Owls have some problems, and we'll find out more about both of the clubs as we go upstairs now to Pat and Mike.
Thank you, Bill. Hello, everybody. There is no doubt about it. This is a game that Montreal fans, I know, are looking forward to because the Alouettes were impressive last week, Michael. But in speaking with Joe Scannella, the head coach of the Owls, just moments ago, he told me he's really terrified about this ball game because he knows they're supposed to win, but he also knows that Ottawa's been beaten handily the last couple of games, so they're going to be ready. And let's face it, the Alouettes do have a lot of injury problems.
I think injuries is one of the key factors for the Alouettes, Pat, because they have a lot of outstanding individuals, as we know, in their lineup, but you have to start working as a unit. They're missing their two starting offensive tackles. On the left side, they'll have number 65, Ron Singleton. Now, he's a veteran of 6 years' experience in the NFL, recently released by the 49ers, so at least he has that kind of backup experience coming into this game. On the right side, number 67, Joe Salipo, a rookie out of Tulane. That's a lot of raw experience coming in with only a few practices under his belt, but at least he did have the advantage of the preseason period with the Alouettes. Defensively also, they're going to be missing the heart of their defense, the middle linebacker, Tom Cousineau. In his spot, number 53, Harold Randolph. He has never played at the middle linebacking spot before in his life. He's really going to be tested tonight in that position. There's no doubt about it. Also, Joe Scannella has been concerned about the criticism for his secondary. He feels that it's been unwarranted. The principal reason why they've gained yardage against the defense, a lack of pass rush. He hopes number 75, their outstanding rookie from Oklahoma is going to be able to help them in that department.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing Keith Gary in this, his first CFL start. But right now, we're going to go down to field level for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Et avalar de votre paix, protégeront nos foyers et nos droits. Protégeront nos foyers et nos droits.
The Montreal Alouettes and Ottawa Roughriders are all set. We'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment.
Days turn into night. Now the problem is all done. You feel that there's some good times due with friends that are just like you. Make it a concert for me and my friends. Make it a concert. Make it a concert. Make it a concert, my friends.
It's story time for one great day full of imagination, exhilaration.
Story Town for one great day full of good vibrations, great sensations. In just one day, a complete vacation.
Storytown is $2 million better. 45 rides and shows. See weekend newspapers for discount coupons. Storytown Fun Park, just 3 hours away in Lake George, New York.
In just one day, a complete vacation. Storytown Fun Park.
There's a look at the man who will handle tonight's ball game, referee Lorne Woods, as Woodrow Wilson, number 2, and Carl Brazeley, number 3, stand at the Montreal 5 to await the kickoff from Jerry Organ. This is Brazeley at his 3-yard line. Brazeley tried to get to the outside. He did so, but the Ottawa contain was pretty good, and he's forced out somewhere around the 25-yard line by Ricky Barton, number 25. And Mark Philp, number 17. It was a 62-yard kickoff and a 22-yard return. And now we'll set up that Montreal offensive backfield for you with Vince Ferragamo. And, of course, the big man is David Overstreet, Michael.
Joe Hocko also doing an honest job providing the blocking for Overstreet, but he's the man that's going to carry the ball. The dangerous receivers, Johnson and Scott on the outside.
Let's watch and see if we can identify some early tendencies by the Alouette offense tonight. The give is to Overstreet, and there was good penetration by Greg Marshall, number 66, the right defensive tackle, and Bob Stephen, the outside linebacker, number 56. And they contain Overstreet to an advance of maybe a yard, so make it 2nd and 9.
I think coming with the running game because they anticipate that the Ottawa linebackers, and you're looking at them now, may be doing a lot of stunning and blitzing, trying to help out that secondary, which has been much maligned, giving up 978 yards in just 2 games.
Well, Ferragamo's going to put it in the air right now on 2nd and 9. Well, he had a lot of time, and of course he finds, with that time, Billy White Shoes Johnson. And Johnson doesn't stop until he gets down to the 46-yard line, upended at that point by Sheree Fields. It was a 38-yard gain on a Ferragamo to Billy Johnson forward pass.
Well, the key is, as you pointed out, Pat, the amount of time afforded to Ferragamo. As a result of that, Johnson, who had been lined up wide to his left, just did a square in pattern. Number 27, Sheree Fields, had no opportunity to stay with him, and he just ran past him. Check that. Number 25, Ricky Barton, had been in coverage.
So it is first down Montreal at the Ottawa 46. They give us again to Overstreet. And Overstreet runs into number 51, Ian Ward, who is starting tonight at defensive tackle for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Mike Raines has gone to end, and Big Walker, who normally occupies that end spot for Ottawa, has been moved to the move list. So the gain by Overstreet was 3 yards, make it 2nd and 7 Alouettes in at the Ottawa 43-yard line. Flag comes down. Ferragamo again with time finds Chuck McMahon all alone in around the 19-yard line. We'll wait and see what that flag was all about, as Ferragamo had all kinds of time, and McMahon was all alone in that part of the field as he appeared to split the zone for a 23-yard gain.
In their first 2 games, the Riders have been caught badly in man-to-man coverage. On this occasion, they were in zone. They were only coming with a 4-man rush. They had 6 deep, but Ferragamo, with all of the time afforded to him, was able to hit McMahon eventually.
And the penalty was offside against Ottawa, so the gain will stand, and the Alouettes are on the move impressively here in the early moments of this ball game before more than 25,000 at Lansdowne Park. It is first down Montreal at the Ottawa 18. The give is to Overstreet. Boy, he had a lot of room, and he makes good use of it as he gets down to the 9 for a gain of about 9, make it 2nd and 1 for the first down as Overstreet cracks inside the Ottawa 10-yard line.
We'll take a look at Overstreet. Gain good yardage. The Riders sitting in a 42 defense. Tim Berryman is out of there. They got a block on 75 Sovieta and Fox, and that middle opened up.
A very impressive drive by the Montreal Alouettes, and if they can put everything together, this is a club to be reckoned with. And what a game for you Montreal fans next week at the Big O. The Edmonton Eskimos will be there. This is Overstreet again. He has the first down as he cracks his way into the 2-yard line. Oh, the Alouettes are moving that Ottawa Rough Rider defensive line around.
The Riders had Berryman back into the middle. It didn't help very much. Peter Della Riva and Joe Salipo getting great blocks as they went off tackle. A look at Joe Scannell on the Alouette sideline, a little happier with tonight's start than he was when he was in the Big O last week.
It is first and touchdown to go, Alouettes from the Ottawa 3-yard line. The give is to Overstreet. He is in for the major score. Touchdown, David Overstreet, the rookie from Oklahoma. It didn't take them long, Michael.
Didn't take them long, and a good block by number 10, Joe Hocko, right there, and I think it was number 27, Sheree Fields. Did a great job just knocking him right back into the end zone. Another look at it. Great action on the line as it opens up, and there's the block that sends Sheree Fields sprawling on his back.
Jerry McGrath will try to make it a 7-0 count. And he does. And unfortunately, the clock, like the Ottawa Rough Rider defense, isn't working. An 85-yard march for the Alouettes as they go out in front. 7-0 with about 12 minutes left to play in this opening quarter. We'll be back in just a moment.
When good friends are getting together, the more that there are, the better. There's one beer we hail, and that's O'Keefe Ale. When good friends are getting together.
Next time you're with friends, it's a great time to try one great beer, O'Keefe Ale.
Sing us another one just like the other one. Sing us another one now.
O'Keefe Ale. Now you're talking beer.
When you buy Kmart tires, you know you're getting Kmart quality at a Kmart price. But there's more. Kmart's NAC plan. Your tires are balanced and installed. Every 8,000 kilometers, they're inspected and rotated. The front alignment and balance check. And the wheels rebalanced. Kmart also provides a seasonal changeover service. And if you get a flat, we'll fix that too. All at no additional charge. extras that don't cost extra. Kmart's NAC plan. Ask about it at your Kmart Automotive Center.
Jerry McGrath prepares to kick it off for the Alouettes to Calvin Kirk, number 3, or Mike Davis, 28. This will be Kirk from his 13-yard line. And Kirk, with good speed, explodes out to the 35. He was recently acquired by the Riders from the Calgary Stampeders as Dominic Vetro is down very quickly to make the stop, and Ottawa will take over at their 35. Bill?
All right, take a look, Montreal fans, at the brilliant running back David Overstreet. And David, tell us about that touchdown.
Well, it was an off-tackle play, a power play. We ran it close to the goal line twice, and second time the line came off and blew him back, and I got in. It was fairly easy because our line came off real well. I think this is the tone we have to set for today's game and the rest of the season. We're coming off the ball, and we're forcing things to happen, not waiting on the other team to get things to happen for us, and I feel like that's what's going to take us on through tonight.
Thanks, David Overstreet.
Well, the pass was complete for a 7-yard gain from quarterback Jordan Case to Jeff Avery, with David Dumars, number 14, making the tackle for the Owls. David Overstreet, a very prominent, of course, running back for Montreal as you look at the Ottawa offensive alignment. But Overstreet was the number 1 draft choice of the National Football League Miami Dolphins. The toss goes to Richard Crump. Crump ran into the arms of Wally Buono, number 39, and is stopped well short of the first down.
John Park was the lead blocker for Crump, and it appeared to me that he just got dropped right back into the Ottawa backfield. There wasn't much running room for Crump, and as a result, what could have been a big first down for Ottawa starting off was nothing. There's Buono doing a great job of fighting off Park's intended block.
So Billy Johnson, number 24, and Carl Brazeley, number 3, drop back to await the punt from Jerry Organ. Not too deep as Johnson moves to his 26 to take it. And Johnson, who had so much success in punt returns in the National Football League, gets to about the 33. So the Alouettes will have half-decent field position after that 44-yard boot. George Brancato obviously very concerned about his Ottawa football team. They've been blown out twice in their first 2 contests, and Michael, the name of the game is defense. If you can't stop the other guy, it doesn't matter how many points you score.
Well, once they get that far up on you, Pat, your whole game plan goes out the window. Your defense has to keep you in the game, and that's something the Rider defense hasn't been able to do.
Well, let's take a look at Mike Hamiluk, the Ottawa Sooner Jr., who is the center of that offensive line. This is Overstreet again, and Overstreet tried to dance his way into the hole, was unable to do so because it closed up very quickly. Greg Marshall, number 66, was there to make the tackle for Ottawa. Marshall is a 3-year veteran from Oregon State. Along with Mike Raines, he's been outstanding. As you look at the Montreal offensive huddle, talking with Peter Della-Riva before the ball game, he still has pain in that broken hand. But the great veteran that he is, he gives it his all, and what a catch he made against the Argos last week. Ferragamo's pass was batted down by Jim Piaskowski, number 73, and the Alouettes will be punting.
Great defensive work by Jim Piaskowski. We look at Peter Della-Riva. I'd like to have been able to hold on to that ball, because when you're on offense, the more you're on the field, the more the momentum you pick up. Number 66, Greg Marshall, and Jim Piaskowski going high to bat down the intended pass by Ferragamo.
Well, Jerry McGrath, who punted so well last week, I have never seen a punter in the CFL do any better. Hangs another good one this one. This is Mike Davis from his 31-yard line. Davis gets to about the 38, and that's where Ottawa will start. Downfield quickly was Al Dosant, number 12, and David Dumars, number 14. So Ottawa was stymied the first time they had the ball. Let's see what happens this time as the Montreal defensive unit comes out onto the field. And let's run down that defensive alignment of the Owls for you, because, as Mike mentioned, there has been some criticism of Junior Ayu and Glenn Weir, but they're great veterans, 10 years apiece. And then the rookies Doug Scott and Keith Gary are on the right-hand or the left-hand side. Jordan Case on the run finds Jeff Avery, and Avery has about 8 or 9 yards.
Pat, I'll just jump in to give you the unofficial time. It's about 8:30 now, gone in the first quarter.
Thank you, Bill. We've got a 7-0 ball game in favor of the Montreal Alouettes over the Ottawa Rough Riders, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We finally opened our doors. There's not a soul in sight. We worked hard and planned it all. We hope it turns out right.
Ottawa Rough Riders picking up their first down as Jordan Case rolls to the right side. That's what he does best as a quarterback, Pat. He puts pressure on the side that he rolls to, floods the area, and came up with a big first down.
The ball is at the Ottawa 49. Case again throws to the sideline, this time for Kelvin Kirk. And a saving tackle by number 2, Woodrow Wilson, because had Kirk been able to beat him man on man, he was down the touchline for a touchdown.
Talking about his secondary, Coach Joe Scannella felt that in second-year men, Woodrow Wilson, Carl Brazeley, and David Dumars, he has excellent athletes who are really going to come on strong. In the middle, Joe Kuklo, a rookie from Simon Fraser, inexperienced, but potential is great. Maurice Burton on the defensive corner on the right side. He's a little concerned about him.
This is Richard Crump. The flag comes down as Crump dances to about the Montreal 46-yard line. It would be a gain of 3. That wasn't the cleanest exchange you'll see between quarterback and running back. Crump bobbled the ball momentarily, but was able to hang on to it. Flag was down on the field, and we'll see if it's a holding call against Ottawa, which it is. It's not unusual, but it doesn't happen as often, Michael, that you see holding on a running play as opposed to a passing play.
Usually there's such a jam of bodies, the referee can't see it as well, but it happens every play.
It'll be 1st and 20, Ottawa back at their 51-yard line. The Riders trail 7-0. Als march for a touchdown on their first series of downs. Case throws, and the youngster John Park, number 24, could not hang on. Hit him in a bad place, right in the hand.
Wally Buono once again doing a good job getting over, had the ball, had the play well read, and was right on the spot when Park was about to receive it. It's the kind of play that the Riders you can expect to come back to, though, because they're really working on the linebackers. They have to test Harold Randolph in the middle. Obviously, he's not going to have the talents of Tom Cousins.
It is 2nd and 20, Ottawa at their 51-yard line. Movement by Montreal. Ayu was offside. And rather than stop, because he realized he was going to be penalized, Ayu just kept coming, and they sacked the Ottawa quarterback. It will not count, however, because the Alouettes were offside. The down will be repeated. It'll be 2nd and 15.
Good move by center Larry Titley. He saw the 2 men come offside, and he caught them. We'll get the official call now from Lauren Woods.
Well, there it is. You couldn't hear him, but I'm sure he was saying number 77, Junior Ayu. If he wasn't, he should have been, because that's who was offside. Number 75 is Keith Gary for the Alouettes. Ayu is offside again. Case took a real jolt from Harold Randolph, the middle linebacker, and he is a little slow getting to his feet. But again, an offside call against the Alouettes. It'll be 2nd and 10 this time.
I'll tell you, we were talking about Harold Randolph questioning his abilities as a middle linebacker. Watch number 53 now from the middle spot. You know that Case can roll well, that's one of his strengths as a quarterback. He's got great speed. Look at where the middle linebacker is, and boy, did he pop him.
He really did. So the offensive penalty against Ottawa has now been negated by back-to-back offsides by Junior Ayu. It is 2nd and 10, Ottawa, from the Montreal 49.5-yard line. Case puts it up, looking for Kelvin Kirk on the sideline, but he was well covered by Woodrow Wilson, and I don't know whether or not Case just threw that ball out of bounds.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, Pat. Junior Ayu, obviously a little unhappy with himself because of the 2 offsides, was in very quickly on Jordan Case. Case, to save the field position that he had, just threw it up and out of bounds.
Well, if you've just joined us on CFCF in Montreal, it is a 7-0 ball game in favor of the Alouettes. A 2-yard touchdown run by David Overstreet. Jerry Organ's punt. This is a good one. Chases Billy Johnson 10 yards deep in the Montreal end zone, and he concedes the single point. 59-yard punt by Jerry Organ gives Ottawa its first point of the evening. And so with somewhere around 5 minutes to go, I suspect, the clock is not working here at Lansdowne Park. With about 5 minutes left to go, it's a 7-1 score in favor of the Owls.
I'll tell you, that's a great punt for anybody, particularly Jerry Organ. He carries a 40.6 yard average coming into the game, and there doesn't seem to be that much of a wind that would affect the punt.
Well, there's Jordan Case talking to the roof on the Ottawa sideline. This is his first game back into action. He dislocated his elbow in training camp and was not able to start the season. Ferragamo gives inside to David Overstreet, but Greg Marshall was there once again. He's off to a good night, Marshall.
It shows something about those new offensive tackles. Singleton and Salipo so far have been fairly impressive in their pass protection, Pat, but the Alouettes, who had a good ground game coming into this particular contest, really not getting on track there. And the Riders, most of the night, playing without middle linebacker Tim Berryman and going with 6 backs, concerned about the passing of Vince Ferragamo.
The gain was a couple, make it 2nd and 8. Ferragamo was looking for David Overstreet. The coverage for Ottawa provided by number 17, Mark Philp. And Overstreet would have liked to have seen a flag come down for interference, but none was forthcoming.
4.5.
George Brandano always going to that ice bucket, most particularly on a warm night like this.
George is just a funny little guy. I was talking to him yesterday. I said to him, "You going to make any changes in the defensive secondary?" He said, "No, I'm going to keep playing them until they get it right." But you got to know he's concerned. They were blown out in both games.
Come on, too long. We turned back. Both backs went left.
Well, I have no idea who number 21 is. I presume it's one of the Cook twins who was activated this past week. He's not listed in the program. A flag comes down, and we will either have a clipping penalty or a piling on. I guess maybe I should know who 21 is. It's Randy Rhino.
That's right. Well, you're so used to seeing him in an Alouette uniform, it's hard to make the adjustment sometimes.
Rough play against the Alouettes. It's a break for Ottawa.
Penalties, of course, a big factor for the Alouettes in this early season. The most penalized team in the CFL in their first 2 games.
Come on now, D, you got to tighten him up.
Well, Ottawa, with that roughing call against the Alouettes, take over at the Montreal 53-yard line. This is Richard Crump. And Crump gets about 7 or 8 yards in very close to the Montreal 45 before Doug Scott, number 70, the Montreal boy who starred at Boise State, was able to haul him down.
I'll tell you, this is great work for a defensive tackle. A misdirection play, all the backs went to the right side, countering back there, and Scott in his 2nd season with the Alouettes showing great hustle to that outside. Coach Joe Scannella said he's been the most pleasant surprise of this season in the defensive unit.
The gain was 7. It is 2nd and 3, Ottawa. Give us to Crump again. And Crump has the first down but drops the football. Dave Dumars has it for the Alouettes. A flag comes down as Dumars was hammered out of bounds at about the Ottawa 45-yard line by Jeff Avery.
Well, we'll have to sort out all these flags, Pat, but this is the kind of defense that won championships in Montreal. A hard-hitting defense. And it appeared to me as if it was number 39, Wally Buono, who came in there and really gave him the shot, shook the ball loose, and allowed Montreal to take possession. But we'll have to see what the flags are going to mean.
It's a clipping call on the return. So the Alouettes will retain possession of the ball, but they'll have it back at their 39-yard line. But as Mike pointed out, good alert defense by the Alouettes. And one of the most alert, and certainly game in and game out, one of the most effective. Wally Buono was there to pop the ball loose from Richard Crump. From an Ottawa viewpoint, it's a tough break because the Riders appeared to be coming on. Now the Alouettes get an opportunity to increase their 7-1 lead. We've got fewer than 5 minutes left to play in this opening quarter. Ferragamo wide open in the middle. Who made that reception, Mike?
Peter De La Riva. He just ran a little hook against number 78, Ron Fox. Again, they only have the 2 linebackers in.
So Montreal leads at 7-1 over Ottawa, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Carlsberg Light, all right. People here say it's one good beer. Carlsberg Light, all right. Cold as ice, it's one real good beer. Crack a cold one and you'll see why it's got that great light taste for me. Carlsberg Light, all right. Raise a cheer for good beer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Jones. The dynamic Tom Jones. In person, 8 performances only, Tuesday to Sunday, July 28th to August 2nd at Place des Arts. See the phenomenal Tom Jones live with guest star George Wallace at Place des Arts. Tickets now on sale at the box office.
Well, Wally Buono popped it loose. Wally Buono popped it loose. Wally, tell us what happened when you put the hit on.
Well, it was a flow away, and Crump was cutting back, and he jumped up in the air. I guess the ball was hanging loose a little bit. My helmet must have hit it. And,
great hit.
Well, thank you. So we can get a few more.
All right. Congratulations, Wally.
Vince Ferragamo kept on the quarterback sneak to get the Montreal first down as he moves the ball over the Alouette 50 to about the 51-yard line.
You know, when you lose a man like Cousineau, it's veterans like Wally Buono who have to take up the slack. And boy, with his play in this first quarter, that certainly seems to be the case.
Very impressed with the Montreal offensive line. Ferragamo hasn't been harried or hassled at all by Ottawa. Swings that one out to McMahon, and Chuck gets a first down as he gets to the Ottawa 46-yard line. He knocked Mike Davis right back on the seat of his pants. Gain was 14 yards. That's another Montreal first down.
Once again, the Riders failed to get any pressure. John Glassford's playing at that defensive end spot on the left side. Mike Raines back at his more familiar tackle position, but they just aren't getting the pressure from the front four at all.
7-1, the Alouettes lead it. They're on the move at the Ottawa 46-yard line with a first down. David Overstreet. He didn't get very far because of a man we've mentioned a number of times tonight, Greg Marshall, number 66. And also in there was number 75, Rick Sovieta.
Just appeared to be a naked sucker play, Pat, where they send all the motion to rights one side, then try to get the defense shifting and come back against the grain with a quick hitter. Overstreet, however, was read well by Greg Marshall.
Let's see if Ottawa comes with one of their linebackers this time. Ferragamo's been having far too much time to pass. On 2nd and 9, it's a passing down. Riders don't. This is to Overstreet. Now that was the screen pass, and Overstreet ran it well. He picked up his blocking at the initial point and then was able to get down to the Ottawa 31-yard line for a 15-yard gain.
Greg Marshall, number 66, right there, just had a hand on him, but you're not going to take Overstreet down with a hand. He kept on charging upfield, and a very important first down.
And what a tribute to the city of Montreal when David Overstreet's wife apparently said when she came up there, "This is where we're going to play football this year." They were very impressed with the city, and who wouldn't be? This is Overstreet again. He slips down as he gets to about the 21 or 22-yard line. He'll be just short of the first down. Overstreet has now carried 9 times for a total of 37 yards.
Another look at David Overstreet, because the running game, in my view, is going to become as important to the Alouettes as the passing arm of Vince Ferragamo before this season is over.
So at the end of the first quarter, the score is Montreal 7, Ottawa 1. We'll return with the second quarter in a moment.
Days turn into
night. Now the problem is all done. You feel that there's some good times due with friends that are just like you. Make it a Carlsberg for me and my friend. Make it a Carlsberg. Make it a Carlsberg. Make it a Carlsberg, my friend.
Never before an unheard of event, an incredible story. Harding and Burlington are both makers of fine carpet that must be sold, but they couldn't find an arena big enough for all the stock. Enter Consumer Carpet Warehouse. Consumer Carpet will host this huge direct-from-mill sale with the greatest savings that ever laid flat on a floor. Up to 65% off top-quality carpeting, 75% off mill-end remnants. Grass carpet for just $1.99 per linear foot, 6-foot widths. A cooperative effort between two competing manufacturers. Incredible, but true. Only at Consumer Carpet while savings last.
Super Slide, the neat new summertime attraction that won't cost an arm and a leg. Just north of Montreal in the Laurentian Mountains, Mont Gabriel's Super Slide is a super experience. Up the chairlift and down 2,500 feet through woods and trails. Just jump on the sleigh and hang on. No special skills required. You're in complete control all the way. Super Slide, carefree fun for everyone at Mont Gabriel, exit 64 off the Laurentian Auto Route north of Montreal.
A yard to go as the give is to David Overstreet, and Overstreet will score the touchdown. Excellent blocking, and then Overstreet turned it into high gear. Mike Davis tried to make the saving tackle, could not. It's a 21-yard touchdown run, his second of the ball game for David Overstreet.
Watch this slanting speed and acceleration to the outside. Great block by Hocko on Fields, got him inside. Randy Rhino got caught inside, and before you knew it, David Overstreet was into the end zone. Another look. This is what happens on short yardage. The defense bunches up. You get by that first wave, and with the speed of an Overstreet, you're in the end zone.
And let's give credit to Chuck McMahon, who did a good job on knocking the corner out over there. Jim Burrow. Burrow had moved up to try to provide some contain, and McMahon just knocked him right out of there. The point after attempt is blocked, and that's the first one this year. So Jerry McGrath won't be too happy about that, but the Alouettes have got to be pleased. They are out in front of Ottawa, 13-1, as we have just begun play here in the second quarter. We've mentioned, of course, that Overstreet is from Oklahoma, and so too is Keith Gary. And the Ottawa Rough Riders announced today that quarterback J.C. Watts, also from that Oklahoma Sooners team of last year, which won the Rose Bowl, is coming back to the Rough Riders. He had been at their training camp, stayed 2 days, and decided he didn't want to play pro football. He's coming back, and it'll be interesting to see what he can provide.
Maybe the success of Overstreet and Keith Gary, and in a direct way, is going to help out the Riders in the sense, in the person of J.C. Watts, because it's funny, you know, sometimes the idea of coming into a strange country, playing with people you don't know, and in front of crowds you don't know, and it seems far away, but you know some of the people up there, and it makes it seem all a little more familiar.
You don't think he's coming because he was impressed with Billy Vessels in 1952?
Only a few of us remember that.
Yeah. Billy, of course, was the first winner of the Shenley Award while with the Edmonton Eskimos. The kickoff by McGrath comes to Kelvin Kirk at the 8-yard line.
Some could say he may be impressed with the checkbook, but Nelson Scalbania doesn't own this team.
No, right. The tackle was made by Tim Kist, number 42, on Kelvin Kirk, the former Toronto Argonaut and Calgary Stampeder, who was recently acquired by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Marches of 85 and 71 yards. And so the Ottawa defense is going over strategy with Bob Obilovich, one of their defensive coaches, because they're trying to figure out how to stop Vince Ferragamo and the Alouettes. Overstreet has both touchdowns for the Owls. Who very nearly picked off by number 2, Woodrow Wilson.
You'll notice that Doug Scott, number 70, is not in that lineup right now. He's got stretched ligaments on the inside of the right arm, and they've wrapped it heavily, and they think he may be able to go back in a little bit later.
You can see the story of that first quarter very vividly illustrated in the passing statistics. 100-29. Total yards 138-40. It's a 13-1 ball game in favor of the Alouettes. Second down Ottawa from their 33-yard line. 2nd and 10. The draw to Richard Crump. And Crump gets about 3 yards, not much more, and Ottawa will be punting again. You're going to start hearing some boos, I suspect, soon from this Ottawa crowd. They normally aren't too patient with the Rough Riders, and with the kind of start they're off to this year, I suspect they'll be very vocal in a few minutes.
Difficult position, of course, for Jordan Case. He's only in his second season. It's his first game. He's coming in, and before he has a chance to look around, he's down 13-1.
Jerry Organ averaging 50 yards in this ball game. They'll be punting on 3rd and 6. Good punt. High, not too deep. Billy Johnson at his 32. Oh, he's got the outside now. Well, he had it for a moment, and then he was finally hauled down by number 4 of the Ottawa Rough Riders, and that's Wiley Pitts.
Johnson appears to be a little shaken up on that sideline, Pat. And it appears to be the wind knocked out of him. Let's take another look at it right now. We'll see if we can pick out the cause for that delay in the sideline.
I hope it is just the wind, Mike.
Well, you wouldn't think you'd have the wind knocked out of him there, Pat. It could be a leg problem. That's been his history.
It is first down. Alouettes from their 36-yard line, and Ferragamo is going to go deep. Looking for James Scott.
Well, I can't believe it.
Well, neither could James Scott. He can't believe there isn't a flag.
I cannot believe it. The official was right there.
The only thing is this, Mike. The ball was over the receiver's head at that time.
Let's see if we can pick it out. I think Sheree Fields was getting out of the action as quickly as he could because he knows he's a thief.
Well, you're right. Sheree Fields should have been called for pass interference. No doubt about it. He hauled
If you were
him
in
down.
the big O, you wouldn't be able to hear yourself right now.
So instead of a long first down, it goes as 2nd and 10, Alouettes from their 36.5-yard line. Ferragamo is 5 for 8 so far tonight. He was only 46% coming into this ball game. This is Mark Lassell, and Lassell gets to the line of scrimmage, not much further. There to make the tackle for Ottawa's Ricky Barden, number 25. Barden and Sheree Fields have really had their problems this year. Fields from the University of New Mexico, number 27, and Barden, number 25, from the University of North Carolina, are the 2 cornerbacks, and they have been eaten alive by every team Ottawa's played.
I just talked to Billy White-Shoes Johnson, and he thinks it is more of a cramp than a serious injury, and feels he'll be all right to go back in.
I hope you're right. This is Randy Rhino. Well, Montreal fans know what that's all about. Randy Rhino, one of the truly great punt returners in all of football, with a return of 26 yards. It is 13-1. Montreal over Ottawa. We'll be back in just a moment.
Aubergement Gabriel, every Saturday from 6:30 until midnight, you can enjoy an evening of fine food, relaxation, and dancing at our poolside buffet. While relaxing at your poolside table with a view of our tennis courts, chalet, and guest accommodations, the sounds of gentle and relaxing music will fill the mountain air. At Aubergement Gabriel and the beautiful Laurentians, relaxation is the atmosphere and fulfillment is our goal. For further information or reservations, call the Aubergement Gabriel on our direct line from Montreal, 861-2852.
This summer, bring your color films in to Direct Film and double your prints for only $1.
Double your prints for $1.
Moreover, you'll get a coupon for a free 5x7 color enlargement with every film process.
Double your prints for $1.
And that's not all. You can even choose the type of finish you want. Bring in your films, double your prints for $1, get a free enlargement, and choose the finish at Direct Film.
Direct Film.
It is first down, Ottawa at the Montreal 52.5-yard line. On the fine punt return by Randy Rhino, the Riders enjoy excellent field position. Well, they did until the big pressure from Keith Gary, number 75, for his first Canadian Football League sack on Ottawa quarterback Jordan Case.
Carl Brazley was covering Wiley Pitts. Woodrow Wilson was covering Bruce Walker. And Jordan Case does not have the luxury of a lot of time. Coach Joe Scannella was concerned about the rush of that front four. Those fears will be eased somewhat by virtue of their play in this first half.
8 first downs for Montreal, 2 for Ottawa. It is 2nd and 16, Rough Riders. Well, Willie Hampton was there this time, and a flag comes down. Case figured he could waltz around Willie Hampton, but there was no way that that big fella from Arkansas was going to be budged. But there was a flag down on the play.
Good to see number 70, Doug Scott, back in action. Jim Heighton was in for a couple of plays, but Scott now operating on that knee and operating pretty well because he's one of the gang that's in there.
You know what I'm sure the call is, like we can't hear referee Warren Woods. I think he called Junior Ayu for steering. You notice he comes from behind and just give him a little headbutt. So that's a big penalty. Boy, I'll tell you, instead of having the ball back around their 43 or 44, the Rough Riders pick up a first down at the Montreal 51-yard line. A serious, serious penalty. Rough play against the Alouettes. Tough break for Montreal. Case throws. Kelvin Kirk's got it, and he's in behind Woodrow Wilson. Nobody will catch Kelvin Kirk. On his first pass reception as an Ottawa Rough Rider. His second, Bob Layton. His second pass reception as an Ottawa Rough Rider. He gets a touchdown.
Watch the move on isolation. A beautiful move to the outside. Wilson started to make a move for the ball. That appeared to be his critical mistake. He thought he had a chance, went to the ball. Kirk got away from him, and then it was a foot race. A big play for the Riders, and they needed it badly. Another look, Pat. Good protection afforded them. Great move by Kirk.
Well, you got to know the Montreal coaching staff will be furious about that one. Point after by Jerry Organ is good, and we've got a football game. It is Montreal 13, Ottawa 8, and I would think we've got about 10 minutes to play in this second quarter. The clock is not functioning here at Lansdowne Park. They're putting in a brand new scoreboard, and it should be impressive when they finally do get it installed.
51-yard pass, the big play. Ottawa has really not done anything offensively, but that big play sometimes will be the factor that will turn the momentum in another direction. So far, it's been domination by the Alouettes.
There is now exactly 11:03 left in this first half, Pat.
Thank you very much, Bill Stevenson. As I point out, the clock is not working, but Bill is down at field level where they're keeping the official time. So as you heard him say, it's just over 11 minutes left to play in the second quarter. Ottawa and Montreal, one of the great rivalries in the Canadian Football League. And when these two clubs get together, it doesn't matter who the powerhouse is. It always seems to be a good game. Dave Dumars is back deep for Ottawa, or excuse me, for Montreal. And he will field this kickoff from his 11-yard line. Doesn't get very far. Only gets out to about the 22-yard line before a swarm of Ottawa tacklers, led by Rick Sovieta, number 75, were there to greet him. Let's see how the Alouettes react now to that sudden touchdown by the Rough Riders, as Dave Dumars from northeast Louisiana comes off the field after returning that kickoff. He's one of those youngsters Mike was talking about in that secondary of the Alouettes, as Vince Ferragamo brings his offensive team up over the ball. Billy Johnson's back on the field, so he was not seriously injured. This is Peter Dallariva, and Peter is knocked out of bounds by number 25, Ricky Barden, after a gain of about 9 yards. If there's a nicer guy in the CFL than Peter Dallariva, I don't think I've met him.
Boy, I'll tell you, he's been a great vet. They just sent everybody out, Pat. 3 receivers to the right, 3 to the left. Johnson and Hawk over to the inside. Dallariva went to the sideline, and they're working against that zone defense that Ottawa's working with. 6 deep backs on most plays on short yardage such as this. Berryman comes in favor of that 6th defensive back.
It's second and about 1.5 yards to the first down. This is Overstreet. Overstreet drops the ball. Randy Rhino tried to pick it up.
comes in. Now watch Tim Berryman, 41. He's the one that seemed to strip him of the football. Rhino tries to pick it up there. Everybody gets a shot at it. I think it's number 28, Mike Davis, ultimately, who got it.
It is first down Ottawa at the Montreal 15-yard line is where they really recovered the ball. Double fake. Jordan Case throws to Jeff Avery. Avery makes the catch at about the 6-yard line. He'll be short maybe by a yard of the first down. Dave Dumars was there to make the tackle for the Alouettes. Boy, you talk about shift of momentum. It's going to be a shift on the scoreboard, which is unbelievable because the Alouettes were completely dominating this game.
Well, I'll tell you, Jordan Case threw a nice ball in there, Pat. He just rolled out to that left side to get that extra time. He's been under a lot of pressure. He eludes it there, and a nice soft pass to Avery. Avery was just about a step in front of his coverage, Dumars. But Case laid it in.
3 receptions for Jeff Avery already tonight. 2nd and a yard to go, Ottawa from the 6-yard line. They give to the youngster, Park, number 24. I don't know if he got the first down or not. David Dumars, number 14, was there. Well, it'll be 3rd and inches. Ottawa has to get inside the 5-yard line, it appears from here. And they are just outside the 5 right now, but they, of course, will go for it. The Alouettes could throw up a goal line stand here and take the ball back. This could be the turning point of the ball game. Richard Crump dives over the 5 to about the 2 for an Ottawa first down. It'll be first and touchdown to go Rough Riders from that point.
You have to come up with the big plays. 3rd and 1 sometimes seems automatic, but let me tell you, it isn't. Richard Crump had to hurdle to make it. The Alouette line really stuffed it up well.
Ball is placed at the 3-yard line as we take another look.
Wasn't a lot of running room, Pat. He had to make it on that leap.
They give it to Richard Crump, and Crump is in for the touchdown. How about this one? Ottawa goes in front 14-13.
Same little counteraction that we saw earlier. Everybody went to that left side, and Crump comes back against the grain. The defense, of course, when you're down at the goal line, reacting quickly, and a little opening came, and Crump used good power to get it in.
Ottawa leads it by a point. And Jerry Organ will try to make it 2. He does. The second all-time leading scorer in Canadian Football League history. Jerry Organ is good on the point after. And the Ottawa Rough Riders are out in front of the Montreal Alouettes, 15-13. We'll be back in just a moment.
Summer smile on the island. Summer smile on the islands. Just across the way at La Ronde, there's the fun of rice.
Take full advantage of the islands with a one-day super visa at $9.95, which gives you access to Man and His World, Les Florelis, La Ronde, and all the rides.
So come along and with us sing that summer smile. Summer smiles on the isles.
Summer smiles on the Isles. Man and His World in Montreal.
Well, if you left us just a couple of minutes ago, you probably can't believe that scoreboard. It was 13-1 for Montreal. Then Kelvin Kirk got in behind Woodrow Wilson for a 50-some-yard odd touchdown. And then just moments ago, David Overstreet dropped the ball. Ottawa recovered at the Montreal 15. And Ottawa punched it in, and now they lead it 15-13. Canadian football, it is the wildest and the most exciting. And you're going to see it at its best next week when the Edmonton Eskimos come to town in Montreal. This is Carl Braisley from his 13. Jim Burrow throws a saddle on him and hauls him down at about the 27-yard line. Ottawa's pumped up. The Alouettes have to get some of that momentum back right now. Ferragamo's got to put together a good drive to get this game back in hand.
And you know, if I was Vince Ferragamo with all of the tools that he has with his aerial game as well as that running game, I wouldn't be too worried about getting on the scoreboard right away. They have dominated. Come back to that solid football that they displayed so far and take control once again.
Let's see what Vince the Magician does. He gives to Overstreet, who fumbled last time, and why not? This guy can run. Flag comes down as Mark Philp comes to cut the legs out from David Overstreet at the Ottawa 52. There are flags down on the field, and I suspect we may have a clip.
89, James Scott had engaged 27 Sheree Fields on the outside. There's the acceleration of Overstreet. Look to the outside now. Right there. Now, I didn't see Scott block him from behind. It may be holding. I don't know.
You're right, it is, Mike. It is a holding call.
I think Scott maybe had a hold of him by his jersey, trying to prevent him from turning around and getting into the play.
It's funny, you're talking about James Scott engaging Sheree Field. If Sheree doesn't improve, he can marry him because George Brancano will just cut him loose.
He'll be disengaged, as they say.
The clip occurred after the first down had been made, so the penalty is marched off. And Montreal gets their first down, but instead of being in Ottawa territory, they're back at their own 32-yard line. Ferragamo throws over the head of Joe Hocko. Hocko is a second-year man from the University of Toronto. As Mike has pointed out a number of times, he's a pretty good blocker. He's done a good job for David Overstreet.
The time left now in the first half is 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
Thank you, Bill.
Obviously offsetting penalties on the previous play, Pat, because it was 1st and 10 and 2nd and 10 right now.
The first down had been made prior to the clip.
Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry.
So it's 2nd and 10. Well, pass went through everybody's hands, including James Scott, who went high in the air trying to nail it down for the Alouettes.
James Scott, of course, attracted a lot of derision in the Big O last week because he had arrived late. One of the people that Alouette fans were waiting for expectantly, but they had to wait longer than they wanted. Mind you, he made quite an impressive debut.
Well, as you saw at the top of our telecast tonight, what a catch he made in the end zone for one of those Montreal touchdowns. Jerry McGrath, as you see, averaging 40 yards tonight. What an evening he had last week. 50-some yards. This is Davis from his 36. And Davis crosses the 45 and gets to the 48-yard line. So with about 5 minutes left in this first half, and Ottawa leading at 15-13, the Rough Riders are again going to have very good field position. Well, the Alouettes couldn't move the ball. They thought they had a big gain. And then that major penalty hauled them all the way back to their 32. And Ottawa toughened up a little bit after that. And now they get the ball back. First down, Ottawa at their own 48. Case throws, but underthrows Kelvin Kirk on the sideline, number 3.
I've been watching Keith Gary a little bit, Pat, the new defensive left end, number 75 for the Alouettes, and he seems to be getting off the ball a little late, maybe a little hesitant. Just recently acquired by the Alouettes, his first start. He's not getting off the ball as quickly as you might expect.
It is 2nd and 10, Ottawa. Richard Crump on the draw. Crump with a pretty good gain will be short of the first down by about 3 yards. Gets about 7, but not enough. There to plug it up was Joe Kluko, who moved up from his safety spot to make the tackle for the Alouettes. So Jerry Organ, the Ottawa punting unit, comes out onto the field. And Dave Dumars will join Carl Brazeley as Coach Joe Scannella has taken Billy Johnson off that punt return unit.
I'll tell you who else was in on that tackle forcing the Riders to punt. Wally Bawano, and what an outstanding evening he's had defensively.
Jerry Organ averaging 48 yards tonight. He got a 59-yard single. That was his longest punt of the night. On the move is Brazeley at the 20. He took a chance and was able to hang on to possession of the ball. and gets it out to the 25-yard line before Larry Titler, the offensive center, was there to make the stop. So the Alouettes, trailing 15-13 after they led 13-1, come back out onto the field with Vince Ferragamo, Billy Johnson, James Scott, David Overstreet, and all the rest of that great offensive brigade to see if they can do a number. Well, she's different looking anyway, isn't she?
Well, she knew she was on camera and smiling good evening to everyone.
Ferragamo over the middle to Chuck McMahon. And McMahon takes quite a pounding, but he's a tough kid. And he fights for every yard that he is capable of picking up. And he gets very close to 10. As a matter of fact, it is a first down.
Chuck McMahon, a Wilfrid Laurier grad, has done everything for the Alouettes they've ever asked of him. He's been a running back. He's been a tight end. He's been outstanding on specialty teams. A very valuable member of that Alouette unit for some years now.
Ottawa has new cheerleaders, and they've had a lot to cheer about so far this evening. The Riders are out in front 15-13. It is inside to Joe Hocko, his first carry of the night. And Hocko gets about 7 or 8 yards before being hauled down by Randy Rhino, number 21, who moved up from his free safety spot.
In 2 games, he only had 4 carries previously, but an outstanding 5.8-yard average.
Hocko's going to be in that Chuck McMahon mold, I think. He's going to be able to do everything for them. The gain is 7. It is 2nd and 3. The toss goes to Overstreet. And he does not get the first down. Piascani penetrated well, but then it was John Glassford and Rick Sovieta who were in to make the stop for Ottawa, 76 and 75.
Good cut by Overstreet when that outside was sealed up, but it was just a matter of good defense, really.
Boy, Overstreet's been busy in that first half. Carried the ball 13 times for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's Rick Sovieta, who's really played well for Ottawa since they acquired him from the Argos. Of course, everybody plays well when they beat the Argos.
We have 3:05 left in this first half now, Pat and Mike.
It's been a good half, hasn't it, Bill?
It has been an excellent half, but the amazing thing standing in this Montreal bench is how they've had all the momentum and most of the play and are trailing.
I'm sure they will adjust a couple of things at halftime. And like all CFL games, it'll probably come down to that 4th quarter late. This is Rhino at his 21-yard line. Ooh, clothesline. And I mean clothesline by Randolph, that middle linebacker that we were talking about. He stuck out the arm, and Randy ran right into it.
Well, watch Harold Randolph afterwards as well as right now. I don't know if he got a hold of the face mask or not. 2 officials were right there. Rhino went down heavily, and Randolph did a Warriors.
Well, we've got a 15-13 score in favor of Ottawa over Montreal, and we'll be back in just a moment.
And now, News Break with Brian Brick.
Good evening. Following today's Israeli air raid, Lebanon is seeking an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. Conservative leader Joe Clark says his party will continue hounding the Trudeau government over its involvement in a uranium cartel. And guards at the Parthenay Detention Center in Montreal are sitting in to protest overcrowding. Now this.
The Bay presents cool fashions for warm days. Everyone feels a bit playful in the summertime, so why not play summer and your fashion budget for all it's worth? Play it freestyle, casual, kicky, comfy, rough and tumble, or chic and designy. Remember, it's how you play the game that counts, so play it cool. And if you want to play summer for all it's worth, it's hard not to think of the Bay.
All the news after the football games.
We're in the final 3 minutes of this first half. Ottawa leads at 15-13. Little shovel pass to the fullback, Richard Crump. Now that's the kind of a play that could go for a lot of yards if you catch the defense, if you suck the defense into that play, but Montreal reacted well, particularly Randolph, who made the tackle.
Well, the Owls have been coming on hard with that rush. They're trying to take advantage of that, but I'll tell you, Randolph has reacted well in the middle for a young fella who's never played the spot before. He's showing his native athletic abilities and reacting very quickly.
Randolph is from East Carolina State. As Mike pointed out, he played the linebacker, but on the outside. Jordan Case has nowhere to go because Keith Gary was in once again. That's the second sack of the first half for Keith Gary.
Well, I'll tell you, if he was starting a little slowly earlier, he's certainly picking it up pretty quickly.
Boy, oh boy, what a twosome they're going to have in Junior Ayu and Gary. And let's not forget old Fuzzy, Glenn Weir, number 64.
I'll tell you, when Ayu and Weir hit their stride, and they appear to have tonight because they've both put on consistent pressure, Doug Scott has become a fixture at left tackle, number 70, the second-year man, and now Keith Gary's coming on.
Well, Montreal has 3 sacks, 2 of them by Keith Gary. And Ottawa will now be penalized for taking too long putting the ball into play. They call it a time count violation. They'll march 5 yards off. Actually, a pretty good move by Ottawa because they want to kill as much of the clock as possible.
I'm standing behind Jim Kiss of the Montreal Alouettes, number 42. He has got the big ice pack on the left knee, and they're not sure just how bad the knee injury is. But at this point, it doesn't look too good.
Well, Tim, of course, is one of the real kamikazes on that Montreal specialty unit. He's always very close to being first man downfield, and he's a good tackler. Kist, number 42. So Jerry Organ will now stand about 6 yards deep in the Ottawa end zone to punt on 3rd and 20-some yards. Raisley allows the ball to bounce, takes it at the Ottawa 49, is surrounded immediately as he gets to the 48. Down very quickly was number 65 for Ottawa, Pat Staub, and also Larry Titley, number 55. And so the Alouettes are going to have a shot at this thing. They trail by 2, but they have the ball in Ottawa territory.
And we have 1:40 remaining in the half, Pat.
Thank you. With 1:40 left to play in this first half.
Lots of time. A critical drive for the Alouettes. They'd love to recapture the lead.
Well, they can do so with a field goal, but they'd much prefer to get the touchdown, I'm sure. Johnson comes out flank to the bottom of your screen. James Scott is to the top. Ferragamo throws to Scott. He makes the catch and then is forced out of bounds immediately by number 27, Ray Field. But we saw Ferragamo execute this so well last week, where he used the clock and he used the sidelines and ended up getting the touchdown.
And he knows those corners are a little gun shy and are laying off a little bit. Chuck McMahon was to the inside holding Jim Burrow, the inside safety, so it was really just Scott against Sheree Field. Riders now with 5 defensive backs. Berryman was in the middle for that 1st and 10 situation. Concerned, of course, about the Owls getting even 10 or 15 yards and getting into field goal position.
Well, you see how much they are short of that first down, about 1.5 feet. And I'm sure that Ferragamo likes that because in reality it gives him an extra down. He could even play with this one if he wanted to and then grab the first down on the next one. Sometimes that doesn't always work, does it?
That's right. I think at this point with the limited time, I'd like to take the first down while I can.
The give is to Overstreet. It's very close. There's good penetration by Ottawa. Tim Berryman finally made the tackle. I don't know if he got the first down. It's very, very close. Ottawa asked for it, so we have to assume that it is a first down.
Watch number 41, Tim Berryman. 66, Greg Marshall was a factor in the play. But just to make sure that Overstreet doesn't get beyond, Tim Berryman comes in to put him down, but not before he got the first down.
So with about 1 minute and 30 seconds or somewhere thereabouts left in the first half, the Alouettes are on the move. They have a first down at the Ottawa 36.5-yard line. Ferragamo's pass is knocked away by Mike Raines, number 79, the great veteran from Alabama.
Boy, I'll tell you, Mike just plowed his way through there. He got good penetration. Ferragamo, even though he stands 6'3", you see couldn't get up over those outstretched hands.
Mike Raines is 6'6", 265. Had some contract problems with Ottawa at the start of the season, but apparently he's happy now. And they have to have him cranked up in order to be competitive. And he appears to be pretty cranked up tonight. It is 2nd and 10, Alouettes. Ferragamo throws. Della Riva. Mr. Fletch makes the catch as a flag comes down in the Montreal backfield, and Ottawa may have been penalized for taking an extra shot at Ferragamo.
I'll tell you, a critical play for the Alouettes, Pat, and I think it was Mike Raines coming in late. Mike Raines, 79, right there, well after the release of the ball. But the clutch performer again, Peter Della Riva, the same combination, Ferragamo to Della Riva, that allowed the Alouettes really to start their dramatic comeback over the Argonauts last week.
And I'm glad to see Peter having a good year, because I think there were a lot of people who figured that he would retire, and some even suggested that he should. But by the way, he's off to this 1981 campaign. He looks like he could play for another 5. First down, Alouettes at the Ottawa 10. The give is to Overstreet. And Overstreet is into about the 2-yard line. Hauled down by Tim Berryman, number 41, the middle linebacker, graduate of the University of Ottawa.
Let's just take a look at the power of David Overstreet in behind that right side. Good drive, picked up an extra 2 to 3 yards.
I don't see the minute flag up yet. Soon we're down to around a minute. Overstreet now goes down. The Ottawa fans feel that this is a ploy in order to stop the clock. But it is a warm night. It's a very pleasant night here at Lansdowne Park, but at kickoff time, we were in the low 80s. So it's not inconceivable that Overstreet has got a leg cramp.
I think that's more likely the situation. The Alouettes, if they wanted a timeout, have that available to them, of course, officially.
You know what, Mike, I'll tell you. When you do football as long as we've been doing it, sometimes you're not as excited as you should be, but I am really looking forward to going to Montreal next weekend.
Absolutely.
The Edmonton Eskimos are coming in there, and if that isn't the game of 1981, certainly the early season one, I don't know what is.
And you have to say the Eskimos have a great edge going in for the simple reason that they're a club that's been together for a while. All their people are veterans. The Alouettes have a lot of veteran players, but people that are new to the Alouette organization. They're really just starting to gel. How many people are in their first game? How many have only been there a week or two? I think they're going to be very competitive next week. Imagine what they're going to be like in October.
Mike, I also want to mention that right after our telecast tonight, viewers of CFCF TV in Montreal, Channel 12, will have the opportunity of watching the Calgary Stampeders play host to the Hamilton Ticats. Stampeders are off to a slow start, but boy, are the Ticats flying with Tom Clements, Keith Baker, David Green, and all those other great players. The Alouettes have now asked for a timeout, and Ferragamo will come over to talk things over with Joe Scannella. I was mentioning that right after this telecast, Mike, Hamilton and Calgary, who do you like in that one?
Well, I have to like the Tiger Cats, Pat. They've just showing so much offense. Frank Gush, they say, put the Tiger Cats through a really grueling preseason period. There is supposed to be a lot of upset on the club, but you know, I always found that whenever a club won, all that upset just drained away, and there was none left afterwards. It was like the clearing of the clouds. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats have been so impressive offensively in their first couple of victories. I'd have to say they've got an edge going into Calgary.
And of course, the fact that you and Clements are alumnus of Notre Dame would have no bearing on that.
Didn't even mention his name.
No. Vince Ferragamo talking it over with head coach Joe Scannella. We've got about 30 seconds left in this first half, I'm told. It is 2nd and touchdown to go. Well, they've got to get to the goal line for the first down. If they get there, it'll be a touchdown.
Vince
just talking to David
Over. Brought the Montreal Alouettes to the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Right. You were saying, Bill Stevenson?
I was just talking to David Overstreet. He says it is something like a cramp. He definitely is in a bit of pain, but he doesn't think it's serious, and he wasn't fooling out there, though. He has a cramp or something of that nature.
Mark Lascelles, number 26, is in that offensive backfield. Joe Hockel gets the call and is in for the touchdown. The Alouettes are back out in front on the 2-yard touchdown run by Joe Hocko, the former University of Toronto.
And I'll tell you, he shows you that he's more than a blocker. He's a tough kid. He was hit a couple of times, kept on his feet, and got in. His first touchdown of the year.
So it's a 20, or it will be a 20 to 15 count in favor of the Als. Point after by McGrath is good, and that's the way it stands. Montreal 20, Ottawa 15 with about, I would assume, 25 seconds left to play in this first half.
Well, as you pointed out, Pat, it's a game of big plays in the CFL all the time. Montreal has been solid. They've really controlled, but Ottawa's come up with the big plays, and that's what's going to keep any team in the game, and certainly it has to this point.
46 seconds left in the first half, gentlemen. 46 seconds.
Thank you, Bill. Another look at that tough running of Joe Hocko.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are saying, why does that idiot Mars not know how much time there is left to play in the half? The scoreboard is out if you've just joined us, because they are replacing it with a much bigger and better one.
Why are you so sensitive?
They have got a nice pack on the ankle, the left ankle of David Overstreet, and he says now somebody fell on it in the mob scene, and he says that's what happened, but he says I'll be all right for the second half.
Well, let's hope so. David Overstreet has scored 2 of those Montreal touchdowns. He's carried the ball 15 times this evening for 88 yards. Not a bad first half. So McGrath will be kicking for Montreal to Kelvin Kirk, number 3, or Mike Davis, 28, if he goes deep. Montreal touchdown march covered 47 yards, just 6 plays, with Joe Hocko, the payoff man. 85 and 71 were the previous touchdown marches. Kelvin Kirk from his 7-yard line. Ooh, good hit. Good hit by Willie Hampton, who just came across and put his shoulder into Kelvin Kirk, and that was the end of that run back at the Ottawa 32-yard line.
Big Hampton shook up number 79, Nick Araki, of his own club more than Kirk. Take another look at it, Pat. Some good action. Oh, there's Hampton and Araki. And Kirk, they all go sprawling.
Al Dosant, I know, was shaken up on that play as well for Montreal. It is first down at the 32-yard line for Ottawa. Case throws, pass is incomplete. I know that Ottawa is very high on number 4, Wiley Pitts, but I've seen Wiley drop a couple of passes, although in fairness that one was slightly behind him.
Behind him, trying to run off that counter action to Crump that they've had some mild success with earlier, trying to free up some of that. I think maybe they're trying to get a little deeper on it if they could to Bruce Walker. Pitts was the shorter man.
So it's 2nd and 10, Ottawa from their 32. Well, Randolph horse-collared the Ottawa quarterback, Jordan Case, before he got to the first down marker. Say this much, Case has a lot of intestinal fortitude. I'd have headed for the sidelines myself.
And I'll tell you, Harold Randolph is a man with a lot of speed. I like the way this linebacker moves. I don't know that he's ever going to be able to move Tom Cousineau out of a job. I suspect he won't. But I'll tell you, he might challenge Willie Hampton a little bit, and I've always had a lot of respect for him.
Well, Ottawa will be punting on 3rd and 2, and 32 seconds left to play in this first half.
There continue to be minor injuries for the Montreal Alouettes, but they're certainly nagging. It's Al Dosant now, who on the right side of the right knee has got a bit of an injury. He thinks he'll be all right, but he's being helped into the dressing room.
Dosant, another one of those good Canadians on that kamikaze squad. This is Brazeley from his 24. Now Carl Brazeley did a good job, got out over the 35. as the gun sounds to end the first half of play here at Lansdowne Park, and it's been a good one. With the score, the Montreal Alouettes 20 and the Ottawa Rough Riders 15.
All right, Patrick, I have got Greg Butler with me, and I just about stepped on Greg's foot. I don't want to get you injured any further, Greg. How is that knee?
Well, right now they found there's a stretched ligament very bad on the outside of my, on the left side here. I'll probably be out for about 4 weeks.
That much longer?
Yeah.
What do you think about the first half?
Well, it's very exciting. A lot of, you know, for the fans up here. I think second half is going to be all ours when we come back out.
What happened now? The Alouettes, your club, had it all going their way. They had the momentum, and then it just seemed to fade away.
Well, you know, the thing about football, there's going to be a couple turnovers, and what Ottawa's doing, they're just capitalizing on the fumble by Overstreet, and also they had a good field position by the punting the chains, and they've been just capitalizing and putting the ball in the end zone.
But you look for the Alouettes to take over the second half.
Oh, yes, no question.
All right. Greg Butler, you're a little bit biased, but we thank you very much. Right, okay, Greg. At the end of the second quarter, the score is 20 for the Montreal Alouettes and 15 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. At halftime, we'll have a feature with Fred Roberts, the PR director of the Alouettes, highlights of today's game with Mike Wadsworth, and then we'll look at CFL highlights.
It's story time for one great day full of imagination, exhilaration.
Story town for one great day full of good vibrations, great sensations. In just one day, a complete vacation.
Storytown is $2 million better. 45 rides and shows. See weekend newspapers for discount coupons. Storytown Fun Park, just 3 hours away at Lake George, New York.
In just one day, a complete vacation. Storytown Fun Park.
This summer, blow up your fun on the water with a Zodiac inflatable boat from McGar Marine. Zodiac pioneered inflatable boats, and McGar Marine can supply the boat that best suits you and your family. For all uses, recreation, adventure, or commercial, use the boat professionals use. Zodiac, safe, economical, and practical for practically all kinds of boating. See your Zodiac at McGar Marine at the foot of the Jacques Cartier Bridge in Longueuil.
When you buy Kmart tires, you know you're getting Kmart quality at a Kmart price. But there's more. Kmart's NAC plan. Your tires are balanced and installed. Every 8,000 kilometers, they're inspected and rotated. The front alignment and balance checked. And the wheels rebalanced. Kmart also provides a seasonal changeover service. And if you get a flat, we'll fix that too. All at no additional charge. Extras that don't cost extra. Kmart's NAC plan. Ask about it at your Kmart Automotive Center.
The Canadian Football League has often had an identity problem, sometimes here in Canada, almost always in the United States. Once in a while, a player like Tom Cousineau would sign with the CFL, and Americans would be made conscious of the existence of the league. But more often, major media coverage of Canadian football in the States would consist of a one-page story in Sports Illustrated of the Grey Cup game and a possible story or two each season in the New York Times. But that situation is changing, and proof can be found in the lineup of the Alouettes' 1981 version. One example is Billy White Shoes Johnson, who at one time was a very visible performer in the NFL, making plays like this with the Houston Oilers. Johnson is just one of several players signed by the Alouettes this year, whose presence in the CFL has caused American media people to suddenly arrive in more than just sparse numbers to cover football in the league north of the border. While Johnson was a proven commodity in pro football, running back David Overstreet was not, and yet his signing also generated a lot of publicity in the United States. Overstreet played collegiately at the University of Oklahoma, and like defensive end Keith Gary, the Alouettes' most recent media-grabbing signing, was a first-round choice in the National Football League draft this year. Overstreet had been chosen by the Miami Dolphins. Another publicity grabber has been pass catcher James Scott, who was the leading receiver last season for the Chicago Bears, and his signing was considered a CFL coup. But Scott didn't show up to play in Montreal until after the first league game. His disappearing act is still somewhat of a mystery, but when he caught this touchdown pass against the Argonauts last Friday night, Alouette fans knew what the team meant when they said they were being extra patient with James Scott because he is such a fine football player. But the biggest of the Alouette big-name signings was, of course, quarterback Vince Ferragamo, and it's his presence in the Alouette lineup that is the main reason so many more Americans are now aware that there is a pretty good football league way up north in Canada. His arrival in Montreal has created quite a media phenomenon, and Brian McGorman has more on the story.
The New Look Alouettes, as their publicity department has dubbed them, are a hot property. Ever since Vancouver's Nelson Skelbania bought the team from Sam Berger and began courting and finally landing Vince Ferragamo as quarterback, the Alouettes have been big news, not just here or in other CFL cities, but south of the border as well.
While Ferragamo has brought some measure of excitement to the Montreal Alouettes, he has also brought excitement to the Canadian Football League. Indeed, word has it that other teams and other owners are quite anxious for Ferragamo to come and play in their stadiums, to come and help fill their stadiums. It's been some time in Canada since there has been a star-quality quarterback. And while Canadian football may differ from the NFL in many ways, they are both alike in one respect. It's big business.
And CBS isn't the only American news organization paying a great deal of attention to the Alouettes.
We've had the Buffalo Evening News up here all the last 2 days. We've had the New York Times have been down to Victoriaville. We've had the Philadelphia Inquirer coming up next week. And I'm told that there's a crew of about 12 people from Los Angeles going up to our opening game in Vancouver to do a special on us up there, too. So I think that it's kind of hard for us to imagine just what this really means to us in terms of publicity. It certainly doesn't hurt us, or how it's going to reflect on Canadian football. But I have to think that the signing of Ferragamo has probably done more to expose Canadian football in the States than anything that's happened in the past 20 years.
Now, how all this hype and interest translates into ticket sales is really the key.
The future of the club looks very good. I know that the people here are very positive about how we're going to do eventually. I think it all reflects on what kind of a team we're going to have. You know, the signing of the Ferragamos and the Billy White Shoes Johnson doesn't guarantee a great football team. Other teams in the league see to that. They want to play football, too. So I think that our record, and I would have to think that a very quick start and an exciting start would probably do a lot more to generate ticket sales. But I'll tell you this much, that with the interlocking schedule this year, the clubs across Canada are being swamped for ticket requests for the Alouette games. I know that in Calgary and Vancouver, they've been running like 3-to-1 against any other team coming in.
So the Alouettes are a success, at least on the road. So
well, they're selling tickets out right across the country, which is not really anything new, because if you'll remember, Brian, when Johnny Rogers came up here, he was the biggest sellout on the road. I know Frank Clare in Ottawa at the time said that he was good for an extra 2,000 seats. So I hope that we can fill the parks across the country, but more important still, I hope we can fill our park.
At Bergement Gabriel, every Saturday from 6:30 until midnight, you can enjoy an evening of fine food, relaxation, and dancing at our poolside buffet. While relaxing at your poolside table with a view of our tennis courts, chalet, and guest accommodations, the sounds of gentle and relaxing music will fill the mountain air. At our Bergement Gabriel in the beautiful Laurentians, relaxation is the atmosphere and fulfillment is our goal. For further information or reservations, call the Aubergement Gabriel on our direct line from Montreal, 861-2852.
It's the great inventory sale in all 4 stores of Le Père de Meubles, with an inventory of $2 million. For this occasion, Le Père offers you super specials on furniture, electrical appliances, mattresses, televisions, stereos, and accessories of all kinds. All deliveries must be made before the end of August. The great inventory sale in all 4 stores of Le Père de Meubles. Don't miss it.
Le Printemps, springtime, a time of renewal and of fresh beginnings. Résidence Le Printemps, a retirement accommodation bringing a fresh perspective to senior citizen lifestyle. At Le Printemps, guests reside in a relaxing yet stimulating atmosphere. Activities include arts and crafts, social and recreational gatherings, and numerous outings. Résidence Le Printemps, a retirement home full of dignity and pride for those entering a new season of life. Le Printemps.
CFCF 12, Cable 11.
Well, we've got quite a football game going, and let me tell you, as far as this game is concerned, it can go any way right now. As you know, the Montreal Alouettes came through with a 13-to-1 lead, then it was 13-to-8, and then it was the Ottawa Rough Riders taking over 15-to-13. Montreal roared back, and so they're leading with that last-second touchdown by the score of 20-15 at half. It's been a great half of football, and as always, between the Rough Riders and the Alouettes, rivalry at its best. Yeah, I'll tell you, we've got some fine football taking place. We have got the game that'll follow this one immediately that you on the CFCF television station will be able to watch. All of you Montreal fans, you will see Hamilton try for their third victory of the season. They won 2 in a row against the still winless Calgary Stampeders. That Friday night football game on CFCF will be from Calgary tonight, immediately following this contest. And then, of course, you will have in Montreal a week Sunday, the big one as you go out to the Big O, and that's Montreal and Edmonton. This is Friday Night Football for CTV. We'll continue with our halftime in a moment.
When good friends are getting together, the more that there are, the better. There's one beer we hail, and that's O'Keefe Ale. When good friends are getting together.
Next time you're with friends, it's a great time to try one great beer, O'Keefe Ale.
Sing us another one, just like the other one. Sing us another one now.
O'Keefe Ale. Now you're talking beer.
Super Slide, the neat new summertime attraction that won't cost an arm and a leg. Just north of Montreal in the Laurentian Mountains, Mont Gabriel's Super Slide is a super experience. Up the chairlift and down 2,500 feet through woods and trails. Just jump on the sleigh and hang on. No special skills required. You're in complete control all the way. Super Slide, carefree fun for everyone at Mont Gabriel, exit 64 off the Laurentian Autoroute north of Montreal.
Now you can afford the open country in a Suzuki LJ four-wheel drive. The LJs are powerful, light, rugged, nimble, and best of all, you can afford one. The Suzuki LJs. Now you can.
Suzuki, four-wheel drive, Suzuki, four-wheel drive, Suzuki, four-wheel.
We beat the competition. Buy or lease a 4x4 only at Auto City Suzuki. Jean Talon at Côte-de-Neige.
The Alouette lead 20-15 over the Ottawa Rough Riders really flatters Ottawa because Montreal has played outstanding football. 244 yards offensively, well balanced between the running and passing game, and their defense allowing just a little over 100 yards, really outstanding. Their first drive, 85 yards, the key play, this 38-yard run to Billy White Shoes Johnson. It shows the kind of protection that Vince Ferragamo was getting. He had virtually all day to throw the ball and eventually took the Alouettes in for an early 7-0 lead. A little later in the first quarter, the Riders, who never really got on track, second and short yardage. Wally Bowano gave Richard Crump a good hit. The ball came free. The Alouettes recovered, and from there they eventually built a 13-1 lead, but it's been total domination on both sides of the line. Wally Bowano really being one of the outstanding performers for the Alouettes tonight. A little later in the second quarter, second and short yardage. David Overstreet, who has almost 100 yards in one half of play, took this one 21 yards, and this is what allowed them to go up 13-1. The Ottawa Rough Riders, after being hapless in the first quarter and a bit, finally got things underway in the second quarter. One play, 51 yards. To Kelvin Kirk, number 3, new to the Riders, his first game in a Rider uniform, beats Woodrow Wilson because Wilson went for the ball. That allowed the Riders to narrow the gap 13-8. Shortly thereafter, the Alouettes got their hands on the ball again. This time, David Overstreet was trying for short yardage. Tim Berryman came in. A good, solid hit right here, and he strips Overstreet of the ball. From there, the Riders got the ball on the Alouette 15-yard line. They were able to capitalize, take the lead briefly, 15-13. But Montreal, once again, with a minute 40, took possession, and they were able to regain the lead, 20-15, and that's how it went. This is Friday Night Football on CTV. We'll be back with second half action in a moment.
I get the most from every penny I earn. A miser showed me how to do it. One of the beautiful Dodge and Plymouth front-wheel drive misers. Lots of style, and you don't pay extra for it. Better mileage, too. Better than any other 5-passenger domestic car. And when you do buy gas, you drive up to the economical regular gas pump. But here's what really sold me on a miser. The low price at Dodge and Plymouth dealers. For my money, you can't beat a penny-pinching miser.
Carlsberg Light, all right. People here say it's one good beer. Carlsberg Light, all right. Cold as ice, it's one real good beer. Crack a cold one and you'll see why Why, it's got that great light taste for me. Carlsberg Light, all right. Raise a cheer for good beer.
Some people still think this is the only way to get the evening news. We'd like to invite you to try something different. 60 to 6, an hour-long look at news and public affairs 7 days a week. A special presentation of detailed news, editorial comment, business news, sports, weather, and traffic conditions, and in-depth reporting you just can't get on any other radio news program. 60 to 6, your evening newspaper daily from 5 till 6 on Information Radio in Montreal, CFCF, Radio 60.
Well, it's hard to believe that the Montreal Alouettes are only leading by 5 points when you look at the statistical story. Montreal with twice as much offense as Ottawa, but the only thing that does count is the scoreboard, and that reads Montreal 20, Ottawa 15. There's not a great deal of optimism among the Ottawa press corps. One of them was telling me they should call the game right now and settle for a 5-point loss. I don't know if George Brancato would completely concur with that, but Montreal and Ottawa, Michael, I'm sure you'll agree, over the years, always put on great performances against each other.
It's a great rivalry. I'm one of those Canadian Football League fans who really welcomes the interlocking schedule, Pat, but at the same time, it's nice to see it sprinkled with the kind of rivalries that you have as the one between Ottawa and Montreal. And it's just that kind of rivalry that allowed the Rough Riders to, stay in this football game. Don't forget last week, the Montreal Alouettes weren't an awful lot more impressive than the Ottawa Rough Riders have been in this first half.
Well, let's see what does happen in the final 30 minutes of this ball game. Ottawa will get the ball first this half. And if they can duplicate what the Owls did to start this ball game, they'll be in good shape, because Montreal on their first possession, as you look at Joe Scannell and Wally Bois talking things over, on the very first possession that the Owls had, they moved all the way down the field and ended up with a 2-yard touchdown run by David Overstreet.
I mentioned it earlier, I'll say it again. To me, Wally Buono has been one of the real outstanding defensive performers tonight. And as you looked at the statistical story, you know that the Alouettes have pretty well controlled Ottawa, but for that 151-yard pass to Kelvin Kirk from Jordan Case, and then the 15-yard march following Overstreet's fumble.
And speaking with Frank Clare, who knows a little bit about running backs because he recruited people like Bo Scott and Washington.
Well, I'll tell you that Vic Washington was one of the most dangerous of all.
Frank thinks that David Overstreet is right in that class. He said, oh, he's a great one. Graff kicks it deep, and this is Davis at his 13. Good coverage by that Montreal specialty unit as they contain Davis to about the 33-yard line. And they just swarmed over Mike Davis, so that's where Ottawa's going to start from, and that's, well, it's not great field position, but it's probably their worst of the ball game to this point. They've really had good field position, and that's one of the reasons they haven't been blown out of this game to this point, I think. 6 out of 11, Jordan Case, including 1 touchdown. That one was to Kelvin Kirk. Case throws, and they say no catch. Kelvin Kirk insists that he did make it, but after his initial rebuttal, he seems to accept the call, so I suspect he didn't make the catch. We'll just run over that Ottawa offensive alignment for you again. It's Crump and John Park, number 24, as the running backs, 33 and 24. It's Wiley Pitts and Jeff Avery as twin slot backs. Case sets up the screen for Crump, but Willie Hampton was in there to disrupt the entire flow, and then Keith Gary made the tackle.
Absolutely well read by Willie Hampton. Did a great job. You could see him just start back in his drop about a step and a half. The Ottawa line came out to that right side, and Hampton got right by the wave of blockers. There's Gary, number 75. He gets knocked down, up on his feet. Good reaction. There's Willie Hampton keeping containment, holds the back up, and Gary comes in for the tackle. So that's the way defense should be played, man.
Boy, I tell you, they looked very, very alert on that one. Jerry Organ averaging 44 yards. This is a good one. High twisting spiral to Brazeley at his 27. Only a official got bowled over. Carl Braisley gets back to where he caught the ball after running about 65 yards. Ian Beckstead, number 74, finally makes the tackle.
The title of this film is Spinning Your Wheels. Let's watch this. Starts at the 27.
Poor Carl.
And he comes back to the 27. There he is. Good effort, though. Great effort by Carl Braisley.
And the only person who didn't enjoy that play particularly was the official who got bowled over. It is Alouettes first down at their 27-yard line. This one is picked off by Mike Davis, and nobody's going to catch him. Ferragamo put it right in his hands. Welcome to the big leagues, Vince.
Talking to Joe Scannella about Vince Ferragamo and the 12th man in Canadian football. He said he still has trouble picking up that inside safety sometimes. Guess what position Mike Davis plays? He's the inside safety on the defensive right. Going out to that flat. They're playing the inverted zone with Davis having the flat coverage. Ricky Barton in behind, and Davis was freed up and stuck in front.
Mike gave Ferragamo the finger when it was all over. That might not be wise. Vince is liable to come back and throw 3 over his head. Oregon's point after is good. Well, this is a typical Ottawa-Montreal game. They seesaw back and forth. Now the Riders are in the lead by 2 points, 22-20. I guess that's good defense. I was going to say that I thought Ottawa's been blessed throughout the course of this game, but let's give them some credit.
I think George Brancato feels he's a little blessed. They've had a couple of big plays. They stole the lead as a result of scoring on a fumble. They took the lead again as a result of defensive play, a big interception by Mike Davis. Joe Scannella can't believe it. My team has dominated in every facet of the game, but turnovers have been disastrous.
I don't know how noisy it is up there, but I'll tell you, down on this field, it's almost, I say just almost as noisy as it is at the Big O when the football fans in Montreal really start roaring. These fans are up for it.
Well, I'm sure they can't believe what they're seeing. 22-20, Ottawa leads it. Jerry Organ to kick off to Carl Braisley, number 3, who waits for it at his 5. Braisley gets up over the 25 to about the 28. And so the Alouettes are going to start from that point and see if they can get it moving again. 60-yard kickoff, a 23-yard return by Braisley.
I've just had the word on Tim Quist, who, as you recall, or Tim Kist, had the injured knee, and the doctor tells me that Kist has stretched ligaments and probably will miss 2 or 3 games for the Montreal Alouettes.
Thank you, Bill. Interesting to note that the Alouette drive is starting at exactly the same spot they started last time, the 27-yard line. Overstreet. No place to go. Got back to the line of scrimmage, no further. Jim Piaskowski came from the offside to make the tackle, and Overstreet is limping.
You know, it's absolutely incredible how much of this game is attitude. That's why you hear about momentum and shifts and one thing or another. It's all, an awful lot of it comes by virtue of the attitude that you come into the game with, and those attitudes change. A team is down like the Riders are down. They feel a little beaten. They come up with a couple of big plays, and then all of a sudden that defense is swarming. Look at Ron Fox, number 78. You won't see better linebacking play, and everybody's right on top of it. That's good defense. That's great attitude.
It is 2nd and 10. Ferragamo throws, and if Chuck McMahon had not gotten his hand on that ball, it would have been picked off by Sheree Fields, I'm sure.
I don't know if you've seen him, but David Overstreet is on the sidelines. He is limping badly on that left leg that he had fallen on near the end of the first half. We don't know how bad it is right now, but it certainly is not good, and I'll report just as soon as we can find out from the club doctor.
And McMahon is down on the field now, too. The Alouettes have had an inordinate number of injuries this season.
but you could just see him turning, and then he fell heavily. That could be a hip pointer. It could be when he turned on the knee. He had a bit of a twist there, Pat. It's just hard to say.
Well, it's a 2-point Ottawa advantage, 22-20. Riders leading the Alouettes. We'll be back in just a moment.
You've now got 12:03 left in the third quarter. 12:03.
It's become a Saturday afternoon tradition. CTV's Wide World of Sports each Saturday afternoon, covering sporting events from across Canada and around the world. When you're with CTV's Wide World of Sports, you see it all.
Catch horse jumping, plus live the WBA Light Heavyweight Championship between Eddie Mustafa Mohammed and Michael Spinks tomorrow at 4.
Welcome to paradise.
What's that, boss?
If you wish, your fantasy begins now. But first, I must remind you that it is exceedingly dangerous.
That's understood. Mr. Rourke, you did it.
Fantasy Island, Saturdays at 10 on CFCF 12, Cable 11.
Jerry McGrath is punting on 3rd and 10. Don't forget, after this ball game, Calgary and Hamilton, right here on CFCF. Now, flags will come down on that one, undoubtedly, as Randy Rhino trapped the Alouettes. They'll get the no-yards call, and Ottawa is going to be in around the Montreal 42-yard line.
Vintage Randy Rhino. What a punt returner. Fearless, running into the pack, drawing them into the no-yards mentally, and getting his club good field position.
Well, he led the NCAA in punt returns while he was at Georgia Tech, and he's done that so well since coming to Canada 7 years ago. And he and Dickie Harris were performing for the Owls. They were the best that has ever returned punts in this country. Jordan Case is going for the bundle. Kelvin Kirk is there for the touchdown. Oh, a beautiful throw. Just a fly pattern by Kelvin Kirk in behind Woodrow Wilson. And the Rough Riders have shocked the Alouettes.
Unbelievable. A great offensive play. Look at the protection. Look at how Kelvin Kirk has beaten Woodrow Wilson. Wilson is completely out of the play, and the ball just fell in where it should.
I think there's a chance Kelvin Kirk will be around for a while. This is his first game, his second touchdown.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's twice against Wilson. He's had a tough night, 2 plays, but they've been dangerous ones.
Flag is down on the point after attempt by Jerry Organ. And we've got a little pushing and shoving going on right now, but apparently the penalty was against the Alouettes. So the point stands, and the Rough Riders lead it by 9.
Could be important on the kickoff. Get that momentum to Ottawa, field position. If they move it up on the kickoff, it could be important.
The Alouettes are hanging their heads a little bit as they come off the field. A quick touchdown can change all that. We've only begun the third quarter of play, so it's not as though the Alouettes are in a desperate situation by any means.
They're merely an offside, so of course the ball will not be moved ahead.
The time of that touchdown was 11:37. 11:37 the time.
Is that 11:37 left to play in this third quarter?
That's correct, sir.
As we say, we've got virtually the whole second half left. Right after this ball game, Tom Clements and the Hamilton Ticats against Kenny Johnson and the Calgary Stampeders. It comes to you right here on CFCF. Raisley is chased back to his 1. Well, see, Ottawa's really pumped up now. Braisley took a hit in the back as he got to the 28, no further. Bob Stephen was quickly down to make the tackle for Ottawa. It's imperative now, Mike, I think, that Ferragamo gets something going.
No question about it. As we take another look at Braisley's return, now it becomes a battle of the lines. If The Alouettes' offensive line just digs in and allows Overstreet to run the ball, allows Ferragamo that little time, and allows the offense, in other words, to get the kind of domination that they've had throughout the first half. They'll come back, and 9 points isn't a problem with the amount of time left, but it all depends on that line.
Overstreet, of course, is out of the ball game with that injured leg. The swing pass goes to Mark LaSalle. And LaSalle is hammered at about the 37-yard line by Ricky Barton, number 25. LaSalle's a kid I like too, Mike. I think he's a real prospect from McGill.
Joe Scannella was talking about LaSalle this morning, and he feels that actually, although Joe Hocko right now is going to be used a little bit more because he's a little more formidable as a blocker, actually he feels that Mark LaSalle may have a little bit more ability as a running back in terms of carrying the ball.
Well, he picked up 8 yards on that little sortie, so it is 2nd and 2. This is Hocko. Hocko has the first down and gets to about the 46-yard line before he's tackled by Ron Fox, number 78.
The story on David Overstreet is, and Dr. Jack Oliver of the Montreal Alouettes just told me, he said that it is a bruise that is just above the shin bone, and it is not, he doesn't think, a serious injury, but he probably will not be back in this ball game tonight. They won't take any chances on this bruise of the muscle. It's not a bone bruise, but a bruise of the muscle just above the ankle.
Well, let's hope it's nothing more serious than that. The Alouettes with a first down at their 46-yard line. They trail by 9 points. First sack of the ball game for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and it goes fittingly to Greg Marshall, number 66, who's had an outstanding game for Ottawa.
And I wanted to show again that run by Hocko previously to show the work of that Alouette line because it had done such a job opening up the hole. Here, though, the Rider line comes back with that big rush, so if you're going to see how that test of the lines is going, right now it's about even Steven, but because it's 2nd and about 21, you got to give the edge to the Rider defense.
Ball is back to the 34-yard line. Make it 2nd and 22, Montreal. Ottawa will be offside. Jim Piaskowski came firing across. He's trying to imply that Ron Singleton came up out of his stance. We'll wait and see what the officials have to say.
If you're going to say that.
Yeah, well, good move by Piaskowski. So now instead of 2nd and 22, it's 2nd and 27. David Overstreet. The ice bag on. I presume that's an ice pack. And wisely, of course, they're not going to use somebody of his talents. What a night, though. Carried 16 times for 88 yards and 2 Montreal touchdowns. Alouettes trail by 9. Need a big play here. And they don't get it. Mike Davis, who intercepted one Ferragamo pass and returned it for a touchdown, was instrumental in breaking up that play, and so the Alouettes will be punting.
Yeah, Ferragamo's not afraid to throw in a crowd, though. He expects the receivers to come up with big efforts. There's pretty good coverage on Davis, and he was looking for McMahon to come up with some kind of an acrobatic catch, but the defense was too good.
Jerry McGrath averaging 41 yards on this ball game tonight with a punt to Montreal. Ooh, just got it away. This is Rhino from his 43. Nowhere to go. He's closed down effectively by number 7, Maurice Burton. And so they limit Randy Rhino's return to maybe a yard. And Ottawa takes over at their 43-yard line.
Well, Pat, the Riders have come back really on the strength of big defensive plays, and that's what the Als need right now. They got to put some heat on Jordan Case and try to upset that Ottawa offense a little bit.
Case floats it up for Wiley Pitts, and Bruce Walker was over there too. Neither could get to the football. I like the way Case handles the ball, though, don't you, Mike? He's a very good ball handler. His fakes, he goes right through with the fakes, and I think they must be deceptive.
No question that it held up the Alouettes a little bit. It's about the only thing that's been allowing him to get a little bit more time to pass, because early in the game the Alouettes were swarming Case, not allowing him any time at all. They've shown that counter before to Crump. They're coming off with passing action from it. Dumars actually was beaten by a little bit, but had to throw over.
I'll tell you, Jordan Case is an athlete. He is an athlete. To get out of that rush, there was somebody right in his face about a second after he had the ball, and he was able to get away from him.
Keith Gary was one of the people that was right in on top of him and chasing him at the last moment. But he had earlier pressure, too. That's the kind of pressure that Scannella really wants to see from his defense right now. Glenn Weir was very quick off the mark, practically chased Jordan Case out of the pocket over to the sideline before Gary got there.
Jerry Organ punting on 3rd and 10. Another good punt. There's a slight breeze blowing from that end of the field. Should not be that big a factor. Graisley gets to the 25, but can't get away. Malcolm Inglis, number 59, was there to haul him down. So Ottawa continues to lead it 29-20, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We finally opened our doors. There's not a soul in sight. We worked hard and planned it all. We hope it turns out right.
Haven't been able to move the ball in this third quarter at all. They certainly dominated the first half of play, but Ferragamo appeared to be a little bit shaken when Mike Davis stepped in front of his intended receiver and returned an interception all the way for a touchdown. And Vince has got to get this club moving, because they trail by 9 points right now as this third quarter begins to wind down. But in Canadian football, it seems to come to the last minute of play, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this one come down to that one, with Jerry McGrath trying a field goal probably, and if he's good, who knows, the Alouettes might win it by a point or something.
There's no question about Ferragamo's abilities, Pat. He's played some just outstanding football since he's been in Canada. We saw it illustrated perfectly in the second half of last week. You know he's got the abilities, but interceptions have been a problem. He's thrown 5 interceptions coming into this game. He's critical interception again by Davis. He's averaging at this point an interception in every 14 attempts.
You'll notice that Keith Credit has gone in as the DI now for Montreal, and David Overstreet is the man he replaces.
Overstreet is definitely out of the ball game then. Keith Credit is in, and Ferragamo is going to start putting it up. And this is Keith Credit. And he makes the catch, but he only gets a couple of yards because Sheree Fields was on him in a hurry.
Sheree Fields, a young man who's had some difficult moments in his little time in the CFL, but he came up well on that play.
But you know what I like about Ferragamo? Now, he gets credit into the ball game, so the first time he's on the field, he throws the ball to him. Get him into the game. And I said they gained a couple. Actually, it's 4, so make it 2nd and 6. They give to Mark LaSalle on the draw. Well, he coughed up the ball, but Montreal got it back. It was Keith Credit who was there to recover the Mark LaSalle fumble, and the Owls will be short by about a yard of that first down. They're at their own 34-yard line.
LaSalle showed some real ability there, Pat, but the only thing I question is whether or not, when it's 2nd and 6, he should have turned it upfield a little earlier. Just why he keeps on threading it out, keeps on looking for the big break to take it all the way. I had the feeling that had he turned it right up, he would have had the necessary 6 yards a little bit earlier. As it turned out, I think he'd gone across the 35, but then having fumbled, lost possession. By the time the Alouettes regained it, they came up short by a full yard.
And so they send Jerry McGrath and the punting unit out onto the field now. Randy Rhino and Mike Davis, rather. Mac. We'll have people singing songs out there next.
Sweet music for the Riders tonight, though.
6.5 minutes left in the third quarter. This is Davis. Well, Well, Davis is having his career best game tonight. He gives Ottawa possession at their own 54-yard line. Good return of about 12 yards.
Say there is some good hitting in this game. Harold Randolph really racked Mike Davis on that punt return. He let him know that he was hit. Yeah, that's why Davis a little shaken up there. That's been typical of the kind of action on both sides of the field, or both sides of the line, particularly since Ottawa has been rejuvenated by the big plays in the second and the third quarters.
Well, Case is nailed from behind by Harold Randolph, but he still manages to gain about 6 yards. He had no intention of running the ball. It was definitely a pass play, but
Keith Gary just about gets him right there. That's 75, the newcomer to the Alouettes, having an impressive debut. Case, though, with his good athletic ability that you talked about, Pat, makes something out of it.
So it is 2nd and 4, Ottawa from the Montreal 50. Willie Hampton thought that he had Case all wrapped up. He didn't, but Glenn Weir did. So Ottawa will be punting because Case actually lost a couple of yards.
Great work by Hampton on the outside, but also watch Fuzzy Weir, number 64, checks the run right there, but then keeps on coming as soon as he sees Case. I'll tell you, he's still got a lot of mileage on those old legs.
There's lots of time left as far as the Alouettes are concerned, too, Pat and Mike. 5.5 minutes left in this third quarter. 5.5 minutes left.
Well, you're so right, Bill. With the kind of offense they have, they can explode for a couple of touchdowns and make your head spin in a matter of minutes. Jerry Organ's been keeping them in a hole with some good punting tonight. Another beauty. High and deep. And Carl Braisley concedes the single point, and now Ottawa leads by 10. It's a very important point. 62 yards to boot. Amazing, Mike, that wind is only blowing at about 5 or 6 miles an hour. You can see the flag. It's not stiff out, but every time that Oregon gets on this side of the field, he bunts like he's amazing. From the 35-yard line, that's where the Alouettes will take over, trailing by 10 now. And in case you missed it, David Overstreet is out of the ball game with a bruised knee. Keith Pettit has come in. Now Ferragamo was grabbed from behind by Greg Marshall again, and he very alertly went down. He grabs about 7 yards on the run, but I imagine Joe Scanella's heart must be in his mouth.
I think Bob Geary's reading the contract right now. I'm sure it said you're not allowed to run, and he violated it right there because this is not supposed to be what Vince Ferragamo does best. And number 2, you don't want him to do it too often because you know how valuable he is staying in the pocket.
Well, there's bad news for Ottawa if that's any kind of a serious injury. Jordan Case, the quarterback. Ferragamo throws. Keith Pettit makes the catch. He will be short of the first down by about a foot. Pettit wanted to place it at the 46. The official said, 44 3/4. He has to get to the 45 for the first down.
You think it's a strange call when it's 2nd and about 2 to throw out to the flat, but what you're hoping for, of course, is the defense is playing up tight. You're going to draw them in and be able to hit with a quick one to the outside. Coach Joe Moss talking to Jordan Case now. I think his problem was mainly a cramp problem, Pat. He seemed to be in a little bit of pain around the calf, and he seems to be operating all right now. That's how short we are, about a foot.
Well, they've got to go for it. They trail by 10 right now. Nick Araki comes into the ball game. And Billy Whiteshoes was going to come out. He stays in. How many men have they got on the field?
I think they have the right complement. They're 12.
Ferragamo keeps it himself. He's got the first down.
Roland Mangold and Mike Heimlich. They're the people that he was running in behind.
That's only the second first down this quarter for the Alouettes. Mind you, the Riders only have one themselves. But it was that intercepted pass by Mike Davis that gave Ottawa the touchdown. So the Alouettes have a first down at their 46-yard line as this third quarter winds down. They trail by 10 points. Ferragamo throws it over the middle to James Scott, and Scott is there for the first down at about the Ottawa 48-yard line. Mark Philp, number 17, made the tackle, but James Scott picks up 16 yards on his second catch of the night.
They're just sending everybody out, Pat. They had Keith Credit and Billy Johnson deep, Peter Della Riva and Scott coming into the middle area underneath that zone coverage that the Riders are putting up.
3 minutes left now in the third quarter.
Thank you, Bill. Als trail by 10. The draw to Joe Hocko. Hocko got inside the 45 to about the 44, so he'll have a gain of 4, hauled down by Mike Davis. But we're going to leave you for just a minute as we remind you that Ottawa continues to lead at 30-20, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Now, from Eveready, the Energizer.
We took the Energizer test, and we were impressed. We put premium Energizers in my photo flash and regular carbon batteries in the other. Watch this. The Energizers gave us 10 times more flashes than our regular batteries. 10 times. We're convinced there's no other battery like the Energizer.
The Energizer, Energizer. For life.
A lot longer life.
When good friends are getting together, the more that there are, the better. There's one beer we hail, and that's O'Keefe Ale. When good friends are getting together. Next time you're with friends, it's a great time to try one great beer, O'Keefe Ale.
Sing us another one just like the other one. Sing us another one now.
O'Keefe Ale. Now you're talking beer.
So it's a 10-point difference for the Ottawa Rough Riders, leading at 30-20 over the Montreal Alouettes, but the Als are moving. And just a reminder that right after this ball game, we'll go to Calgary to bring you the action between the Hamilton Ticats and the Calgary Stampeders. 2nd and 7. Alouettes from the 45. Well, there was certainly movement along the line of scrimmage. The pass goes to number 26 of the Alouettes, Mark LaSalle. But I think you're going to find that the Als are going to be called for procedure.
I think Ron Singleton, number 65, once again came out of his set position a little too early. He was at least one of the persons who did. Watch the top of your screen. No question of early movement there. Jim Piaskowski, of course, wasted no time crossing the line of scrimmage and catching him on it.
Piaskowski, the 10-year veteran right end of the Ottawa Rough Riders. There you see the call by referee Lauren Woods. 2:17 left to play in this third quarter. So Ottawa declined the penalty.
Ferragamo staying in. Obviously, Coach Joe Scannella feels that he has to come up with a big play, 3rd and 2. It could also be, he feels, Pat, that at the Ottawa 41-yard line, even if they fail to make it, their field position isn't that bad, and their defense, if they have to come on the field, will have to do the job of corralling Ottawa.
Well, it's 2.5 yards, really. Let's see what they do. LaSalle has the first down for Montreal as he cracks his way inside the Ottawa 35 to about the 33-yard line, where Rick Silvietta, number 75, pulls them down.
Well, I'll tell you, the Alouettes are one of the more dramatic teams that I've seen in a while. We saw it last week. It was 3rd and 7. They scored a penalty. 3rd and 17. They scored. They take the gambles when others wouldn't, but they make them pay off.
2 minutes left. in this third quarter. First down, Alouettes. Ferragamo puts it on the line, trying for Peter Della Riva, who made a diving attempt but couldn't come up with the ball. Jim Burrow providing the defensive coverage, the former Alouette.
I'll tell you, Burrow had pretty good coverage, too. It was only a great catch that was going to make that play. Ferragamo had to lead him because Burrow was right with the receiver.
1:26 left in this third quarter. 1:26.
Ferragamo has been good on 14 of 24 pass attempts for 180 yards tonight. Does not have a touchdown pass. Overstreet with 2 touchdowns and Hocko with the other one, providing the Montreal scoring. All on running plays. Well, again, good coverage by Ottawa. Excellent coverage as Ferragamo tried to hit Billy Johnson.
I think it was Ricky Barton that actually knocked it down. He and Davis were both over there. The Alouettes had maximum protection and kept in Keith Credit so that Johnson was running the pattern as a solo. Joe Scannella, 3rd and 10, scrimmaging at the 34, 33 and a half.
They're going to go for the field goal.
I think you have to.
Ricky Barton is the injured player down on the field for Ottawa. We've got 58 seconds left to play in this third quarter.
Jerry McGrath 0 for 2 this season. Being called upon now to come up with a good kick. As you pointed out, there is a slight breeze working against the Alouettes in this quarter.
His attempt will come from about the 40-yard line. It is directly in front of the posts. Well, we've got Ricky Barton down on the field, and I believe Mike Davis. As you see, the wind is not really a factor here at Lansdowne Park tonight. As a matter of fact, what it's doing is cooling it down just a little bit for the players, although I'm sure it is extremely hot for them. As I said, it was 82 degrees when we started.
I tell you, Jerry McGrath thinks that it's a little stronger than you do because it's working against him, slight as it is.
Ball will be spotted at the 41 and a half. Directly in front of the post. It is wide. Rhino's going to run it out of there. Well, Ottawa's in a big hole because of a good downfield tackle by number 52, Ray Honey.
Big play by Ray Honey, tackling a pretty dangerous man, Randy Rhino. Difficult to catch by anyone in an open field, let alone a big lineman like Honey. But Jerry McGrath having problems now, Pat. That starts to happen. Every one of them becomes more difficult than the next time.
Ottawa puts the ball into play from its own 2-yard line. Give to Richard Crump. And Crump bursts out of there and gets to the 10-yard line. Good running by Richard Crump before he was hauled down by Joe Kuklo.
I tell you, that's a big play by Richard Crump. Riders really hemmed in. It doesn't look as if there's any room to run. Guano and Weir and Ayu have it all jammed up. But a big block on Randolph, and when there was no support from that linebacker, Crump had a little more room.
So Ottawa comes up a couple of yards short. It is 2nd and 2. Well, this is Crump again. He doesn't get the first down. Ottawa will be punting.
Willie Hampton, one of the people in there for that big play, along with Randolph.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter of play with Ottawa out in front of Montreal, 30-20. We'll return with the fourth quarter in a moment.
Good evening. I'm Jim Reed.
I'm Helen Hutchinson.
And I'm Henry Champ. Welcome again to W5. Tonight we're going to hear how...
CTV's W5 is a weekly 1-hour news report that gives you the facts behind local and international news events. Join the W5 team Sunday nights here on CTV.
W5 visits U.S. space facilities and profiles Quebec Symphony Orchestra conductor James DePriest, Sunday at 10.
Join us tonight
Doug Crosley presents the artistic genius of Toller Cranston, along with top names in world figure skating on Stars on Ice. Stars on Ice, Tuesdays at 7:30 on CFCF 12, Cable 11. It's fast-paced, sophisticated action each week as Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers star as a fun-loving couple hooked on danger, mystery, and adventure on Heart to Heart, Tuesdays at 10 on CFCF 12, Cable 11.
Well, that's a pretty expensive leg. It belongs to David Overstreet, who is out of the ball game with a bruise, as you heard Bill Stevenson describe, on the muscle. And they're not going to take any chances with him. Oregon's punt is not very deep. Dumars at the Ottawa 45. And he gets to the Ottawa 33-yard line. So the Alouettes are in business right now if they can capitalize. They are in at the Ottawa 33. They trail by 10 points as we start the fourth quarter of play. They now rule that he stepped out at the 35. Look at those statistics and try to believe that Montreal is trailing by 10 points.
You also understand that Montreal had 244 of those 302 yards at halftime, Pat, so they really didn't pick up a great deal in the third quarter. In fact, the two clubs were about equal in that third quarter. Montreal with just a slight edge in yardage.
Ferragamo to Mark LaSalle. Fox cannot make the tackle. He has a first down and more into the Ottawa 10-yard line. Ray Fields, number 27, makes the tackle, but when Mark LaSalle was able to shake off Ron Fox, that sideline opened up for him. 25 yards the game.
Get everybody out. Get those backs and the linebackers, and that's what he accomplished. Mark LaSalle doing a good job against Ron Fox. Shaking off the tackle is a good back will and picking up that extra yardage.
The ball is just outside the 10-yard line. First down, Alouettes. LaSalle again, but Ottawa's defense really tightened up. John Glassford was in there. Fox was in too. Mike Raines, Jim Piaskowski, and of course Greg Marshall. No gain on the play. It is still 2nd and 10 for the Alouettes.
Joe Scannella may be sending in a little assistance to Vince Ferragamo as Araki and Della Riva trade. Della Riva coming into the ball game, Araki out.
And now 13:30 left to play in this game.
For Peter Della Riva, who tripped. And Peter felt that he was tripped by someone. But if he was, I didn't see it. And neither did the officials, because there are no flags down.
No, I don't think so, Pat. I was following him. You watch him now against Glenn Cook right there. I think in his effort to get to the ball, he was just trying to stretch out more than his legs are capable of stretching and lost his balance.
Well, this one is like a convert for Jerry McGrath.
Well, it's got to be a confidence builder for him, or he's really going to be down. 0 for 3 coming into this one. On the season, that is, not on the game.
This one comes from 17 yards with Jerry DiTilio to hold. It is good. Jerry McGrath boots it through from 17 yards out, and the Alouettes have now cut the Ottawa margin to 7 points, a converted touchdown. Funny game, though, eh, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you, it really is. The Alouettes, I don't think you can say that they've gone into a shell, Pat. They've tried to go into the air still, but there's no question that with David Overstreet being injured, they lack something in their running game. There's been big efforts by LaSalle and Hocko at times, but they do not present the same threat that Overstreet did, and there has to be a bit of an adjustment. But certainly nobody can say that they tried to sit on a lead. Ottawa came up with the big plays. Their defense became much more rabid in that third quarter, and they put more pressure on Vince Ferragamo.
We've got 12:20 left to play in this ball game. Ottawa leads it 30-23. Case throws. Jeff Avery couldn't squeeze it. He was hit in the back by Carl Braisley, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Kelvin Kirk was working against Woodrow Wilson again on that same sideline. This time Kirk came back to the sideline and was well open on the play, but Case just couldn't get it to him.
Case has been good on 8 of 17 passes tonight for 124 yards. He's only thrown to 3 receivers. Kelvin Kirk makes the reception for the first down at the 48-yard line in front of Woodrow Wilson.
Really the same play as the last time that I was talking about, Pat. He just pushed out against Wilson. Wilson's so conscious of having been beaten twice for major scores by the same receiver, is playing off him a little bit. Drove down a little more than the 10 yards and came back.
And now they tack on a rough play penalty against the Alouettes, so what was a 13-yard gain will turn into a 28-yard advantage for Ottawa.
Now, boy, is that a big help to them.
Well, that was a big, big play for the Rough Riders. First of all, they retained possession, and now they are in Montreal territory at the Alouette 46.5-yard line with 11:45 left to play. Case throws. Walker makes the catch at about the 41-yard line. So he'll have a gain of close to 5. Woodrow Wilson makes the tackle, and a reminder again, right after our ball game tonight, we'll go to Calgary, where the Stampeders are at home to the Hamilton Ticats. So a big football doubleheader for you here on CFCF Television 12 in Montreal tonight.
Case thinks he has Wilson doubting himself. He might look to that outside and come back to the middle, because they may try to help Wilson out a bit.
This is Richard Krupp. A big run for Richard Krupp. And there was no middle linebacker there. The offensive line did a great job. And Joe Clupo was the only thing between Richard Krupp and the goal line.
I'll tell you, it's obviously a great run by Krupp, but watch the action of 75, Keith Gary getting back in there, the defensive end. I'll tell you, that wasn't his fault, the big game, but he sure helped to catch up to him.
Foul at the 23. Fake to Krupp. And Case actually just throws it away.
Fortunate not to attract a flag on that. There wasn't any receiver around.
Well, Ottawa continues to lead it 30-23, and we'll be back in just a moment.
My name is Jack Webster. I'm a reporter. I deal with issues affecting Canadians all across this country. I've been occasionally known to tell politicians what I think you think and I think of them. But we have fun too. Don't miss the Webster program on CFCF in Montreal.
Jack Webster talks with management consultant Carol Gold and CUPE President Grace Hartman about the problems of working women. Natural wonders of the world are explored to study the delicate balance of nature. The mystery, adventure, and extraordinary beauty of nature is unveiled weekly on Untamed World, Sunday afternoons at 4 on CFCF 12, Cable 11.
The pressure is on the Montreal defense. They trail by 7 points. It is second down, Ottawa, 10 yards to go from the Alouette 23. Flag comes down. Pitts makes the catch in the end zone for a touchdown. There is a flag on the play. And I would think it's holding against Ottawa.
Junior IU had the big pressure, and I think number 50, Kevin Powell, may be the one responsible. IU was coming in. No question, and a good call, Pat, because it figured prominently in the play. Watch Powell at the top of your screen. There's Junior IU with the penetration, and Powell just pulling him down right there. Had he not done so, there's little doubt that IU would have been right into the face of Jordan Case and that pass could never have gotten off.
So negate the touchdown, make it 2nd and 20, Ottawa back at the 33-yard line of the Alouettes. Case going for Kelvin Kirk. Broken up neatly by Woodrow Wilson. Ball hung a little bit. Kirk was in behind Wilson. But Wilson did a good job to get up there and bat it down.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go for the interception, and Kirk may have saved that because they think that they can get 3 points from Jerry Organ right now. The Alouettes would like to save that 3 points. Let's look at Kelvin Kirk and see if he doesn't come back to bat it away from Woodrow Wilson, who did a great job in coverage right here.
You'll notice, Mike, though, if the ball had been thrown
a little further,
I would suspect it would have been 6. All right, the field goal try will come from 40 yards out with 9:50 left to play in the ball game, and Ottawa leading by 7. It is good. Jerry Organ from 40 yards, and Ottawa's lead is 10 points again, 33-23.
Well, if the 25,000 in Ottawa don't get excited by the kind of football they've seen tonight, they never will.
I'll tell you who won't be very excited about this is Willie Wood in Toronto.
It's very obvious on the Montreal bench where I am with 9 minutes and 32 seconds left in this 4th quarter that a big play is needed by Montreal, because the Alouette squad, after dominating the statistics throughout most of the game, appear to be down. In fact, they are down at this point.
There's Jordan Case, and you got to know he's flying high right now because he's got his Rough Riders in front. Ferragamo throws right on the money and good for the first down. That was either Credit or Scott. 88 or 89, let's just see. I believe it was
number 88.
Well, it's Keith Credit then.
There he is, just curling in, working against the zone.
Actually,
pardon me, it's 89,
yeah,
Scott.
They're very difficult to tell the difference. 9 minutes left to play in the ball game. Ottawa leading it by 10. First down, Owls at their 51. They swing it out to Hocko. And it was very well read by John Glassford. Hocko felt that he shouldn't have been whistled dead because his knee, he feels, did not touch the ground. But he'll lose that battle, even if he's right. Let's have a look at it, Mike.
Just a little flare, feeling that their riders are dropping off very quickly. Glassford in as a defensive end does a great job of reading the play to get out there. I couldn't really tell if the knee hit. Nick Volpe says definitely it didn't.
I will take his word for it. It's 2nd and 12 because Hocko lost a couple. Ferragamo throws complete again to Scott, and he has the first down as he gets inside the 45 to the 43-yard line.
Fighting for the yardage. He got away from Sheree Fields. Jim Burrow was in pretty quickly, or Scott could have had a real big gainer. On isolation now. Fields in coverage, working to the inside, breaks back to the outside area, picks it up and gets by Fields right here. Good determination. Now Burrow, and he can't go any further.
First down, Alouettes. They trail by 10 points. They have the ball at the Ottawa 44 with about 8 minutes left in the ball game. Ferragamo throws and is picked off. Ron Fox.
A bad throw by Vince Ferragamo, Pat. He was looking for a receiver. He almost panicked and looked back to Della Riva at the right side. You see him throwing. He was off balance. The ball was poorly thrown. Fox had the hook well covered. Della Riva didn't have a chance for that one. And Ron Fox comes up with a big play. Look at the coverage. Excellent camera work. The ball thrown right to the linebacker.
Calvin Kirk makes the reception to the Riders at the 46. He'll have 5 yards. as Ottawa will now try to work on the clock. We've got about 7 minutes left. Ottawa leads Montreal 33-23, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Each week, join host Ronnie Prophet and his guests for the best in down-home sound.
Sitting in the window singing to my love, slop bucket fell from the window up above. Mule in the grasshopper eating ice cream. The mule got sick and they laid him on the beam. Stay all night, stay a little longer, dance all night, dance a little longer.
The Ronnie Prophet Show, Tuesdays at 9:30 on CFCF 12, Cable 11.
6:52 left to play in this ball game. Ottawa 33, Montreal 23. Ottawa's second down at their 46-yard line, 2nd and 5. Right after this ball game, Hamilton versus Calgary here on TV 12 CFCF.
There's some good defense, Pat.
Junior Ayew in very quickly to smother the Ottawa quarterback, and the Riders will be punting. We've got an early score for you in Calgary. In the first quarter, the Stampeders lead at 3-0. We've got 6.5 minutes left to play here in this ball game. Jerry Organ will be punting. Carl Brazeley and Dave Dumars, 3 and 14, respectively, are back around the Montreal 25. This one hangs up there for Brazeley, who takes it on the run and gets the no yards flag. Good play by Brazeley. He sacrificed his body in order to get the Ottawa defenders within that 5-yard area, and he will get the no yards penalty. So Montreal will take over at their own 50-yard line with about 6 minutes left in the game.
Let me tell you, that takes a lot of courage, Pat. You're going in absolutely defenseless. You don't have the chance to get yourself geared for the hit. You're truly sacrificing yourself, as you said. And it makes it more respectable field position for the Alouettes. Desperate, of course, to put together a march right now.
Well, they've got the ball at their 54-yard line. They've got guys that can fly in there. Keith Credit, Billy Johnson, James Scott. Ferragamo throws. It's good to Billy Johnson inside the Ottawa 40 at the 38. Upended there by Randy Rhino. Good for 18 yards and a first down. Don't write the Alouettes off. With an explosive offense like they've got, they can pull this one out. They've got 5 minutes and 45 seconds left to play.
Johnson did a great job just finding the seam between the linebacker Sovieta and the safety Randy Rhino on that last one.
Flag is down. LaSalle is wide open. And he gets to about the 31-yard line. We'll wait and see what the flag's about. LaSalle took a hit in the back from John Glassford, but appears to be all right.
Motion against the Alouettes is the preliminary indication.
That's what it is.
Penalties again, a big problem to the Alouettes. They came into the game the most penalized team in Canada, and you can't win that way, but that's one of the problems you're going to have with a lot of new people, which is what has happened to the Alouettes, not only by choice, but also through the injury factor.
Tell you, Mike, Joe Salippo must be doing a pretty good job. I mean, we haven't mentioned Mike Raines in a long time.
Well, Raines has actually moved into the tackle spot rather than on the end where they had slotted him originally for tonight, so he's been working more against man goal.
Billy Johnson, touchdown. What a catch. Beautiful catch, Billy Johnson. The Owls are right back in the ball game. 43 yards. What a play. Ferragamo. Billy Johnson makes the diving catch with number 25, Ricky Barden, and Randy Rhino, number 21. Not much they can do about it because it was a great effort by Johnson.
What a pass by Ferragamo, I'll tell you. A fantastic offensive combination. Barden was helpless. Outstanding.
5 minutes left in this ball game. The difference will be 3 points if Jerry McGrath is good on this point after. He missed one earlier in the game. It was blocked. It was not his fault. McGrath's point after is good. The difference is now 3 points after that 56-yard touchdown march, culminating with the 43-yard strike from Vince Ferragamo to Billy Johnson.
Do you think the factor that Vince Ferragamo's contract calls for a percentage of the gate sales has anything to do with the high drama of these games? I can't believe it.
Oh, he's a great thrower.
Unbelievable. Football at its best, I'll tell you.
Well, you got to know the Edmonton Eskimos will be all fired up to play these Alouettes next week.
Let me tell you, the Alouettes will be all fired up to play them if they get this one under their belt.
And let's hope that the Owls can get some of their injured back, because that should be just a great attraction. And we are going to have the pleasure of being there to do it for the fans across Canada. But you fans in Montreal, there are lots of tickets available at the Big O. You don't want to miss that one.
What a challenge to see David Overstreet healthy, working against Dan Kepley in the middle for the Eskimos. And on the other side, Jim Germany against Tom Cousineau if he can come back. But there's no question that the Owls do have that lengthy injury list at this point in time.
33-30 in favor of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And we'll go to Bill Stevenson a little later, but right now we're going to have this kickoff as Jerry McGrath puts it high but not too deep. This is Ricky Barden. Barden with a great return. And only for Dave Dumars, Barden might well have gone the distance. He gets it out over the Ottawa 50 to the 52. Let's go now to Bill Stevenson.
All right, Billy White Shoes Johnson is with me. Billy, tell us about that touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all,
camera there, will you?
first of all, I'd like to praise the Lord for making that catch. What happened, they were just playing deep and they were sitting. Vince just said, let's just go up and he'll put it toward the in the end zone. And I praise the Lord that I made the catch.
How are you enjoying Canadian football?
I enjoy it. I tell you, it's a fast-paced game, and you have to stay in it. You got to be ready at all times.
All right, Jordan Case is ready with 4 minutes, 50 seconds left to play. He knows that he's got to get something going. He throws it to Richard Crump, and over very quickly to make the stop is Junior Ayew, certainly playing his best game of the season.
Well, I'll tell you, that was great hustle by Ayew, because it looked as if the Riders were going to be able to pick up some yardage with that. The Owls, of course, now feeling and sensing that they can come back, coming on with a rush. That's what Case was working against. Called a good call, but Ayew with his quickness still got out there.
The gain was 4 yards. It is 2nd and 6 right at midfield. Case will have the first down, I believe, depending upon the placement of the ball. Now, he had to get to about the 48.5-yard line, and it looks like they may give him a placement at the 49, which would leave him short. We'll wait and see.
Watch number 68, Val Belcher, the right guard for the Ottawa Rough Riders, come out. He does a good job sealing Willie Hampton to the outside, so Hampton cannot seal Jordan Case off. There's Hampton going to the outside, gets that little running room. Oh, it looked to me as if he got the yardage, but they marked him just on the other side of the 50.
Well, that's how short they are. About half a yard. And Ottawa's going to go for it on 3rd and 1.5 feet. They don't want to give the Alouettes the ball. Give is to Crump. He's got the first down as he gets to the 45-yard line. So Ottawa will maintain possession. And we've got to be down somewhere around the 3-minute mark. The scoreboard is not working here at Lansdowne Park. They're in the process of installing a new one.
Look at the power of Crump here, Pat.
3:50 left in this game. 3 minutes, 50 seconds, and we'll keep you informed with every 15 seconds.
It's a 3-point difference. Ottawa leads it, and Ottawa has the ball at the Montreal 45. First down. Richard Crump Glenn Weir, among others, was there to contain Crump. He got back to the line of scrimmage and not much further. Big down coming right now. 2nd and 10, Ottawa. The Alouettes, with about 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in the ball game, are trailing by 3. They want the ball. And if they get it, don't bet against Vince Ferragamo and that offense. We're down to the final 3 minutes. Ottawa leads it 33-30, and we'll be back in just a moment.
At Bergement Gabriel, every Saturday from 6:30 until midnight, you can enjoy an evening of fine food, relaxation, and dancing at our poolside buffet. While relaxing at your poolside table with a view of our tennis courts, chalet, and guest accommodations, the sounds of gentle and relaxing music will fill the mountain air. At Bergement Gabriel in the beautiful Laurentians, relaxation is the atmosphere and fulfillment is our goal. For further information or reservations, call the Bergement Gabriel on our direct line from Montreal, 861-2852.
Weekends are special on CFQR. Saturday mornings are for children. Saturday nights are for jazz. Sunday nights are for classics. And all weekend long, there's beautiful music on CFQR 92.5 FM, a beautiful part of the city.
Well, we're down to the final 3 minutes. Total offense, boy, it's hard to believe. Montreal 425, Ottawa 188, and the Riders lead it 33-30. Figure that one out. 2nd and 11, Ottawa. Well, there's no first down there. Willie Hampton and Keith Gary are there to make the tackle, and Ottawa will be punting.
I'll tell you, Keith Gary has certainly made an impression on me in this first game, Pat. We've seen him put pressure on the quarterback. We've seen him hustle all over the field and really pursue. Good movement right here, and he likes to hit.
I noticed he's limping just a little bit, Mike. He's, as you mentioned, really been a factor in this game. He's a good one. Raisley and Dumars drop back inside the Montreal 10. Jerry Morgan will be punting. This is Raisley at his 7. You better tuck that ball away. Raleigh Wisely went down. He's got no shot to go for the touchdown, but the man coming out on the field right now does. That is quarterback Vince Ferragamo. Can he do it again? He pulled it off last week against the Toronto Argonauts. He'll have a shot to do it as Carl Braisley leaves the field with 2 minutes and 3 seconds left to play in the game. And remember, right after this one, we'll switch to Calgary. The Stampeders are at home to the Hamilton Ticats, and early in the first quarter, the Stampeders are out in front, 3-0. 107 yards to go for the Montreal Alouettes, who scrimmage from their 3-yard line. Mark LaSalle. Well, LaSalle is lucky he's still alive because Jim Burrow came flying through. And somebody else is over there a little bit shaken up. I don't know who it is.
I think Burrow absolutely collided and just about took the head off of John Glassford, coming in different directions on the tackle. Burrow, of course, going for that ball, trying to just steal it from LaSalle by butting it out from his body.
The gain was about 6 yards. Make it 2nd and 4. The Alouettes will scrimmage from their 9-yard line. They need the first down because they trail by 3 with under 2 minutes left to play. Ferragamo throws. Credit's got it. Has the first down over the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Ricky Barton was there to make the stop for the Rough Riders, along with Glenn Cook, number 22.
And I think Jim Burrow has gone down. That leg that he had hurt in the previous contact seems to have collapsed on him, Pat. He's down at about the 28-yard line. That, of course, will be a critical loss to the Ottawa Rough Riders as they try to defend against the aerial attack of Vince Ferragamo in these critical moments. It appears that what they will do is revert to a 5-man secondary by bringing in Tim Berryman to play the middle. That is middle linebacker.
1:39 left to go, and thanks to brother Bill Marsden for another excellent job spotting for us tonight. But I'll tell you, we've got another humdinger. The Owls trail by 3. They have a first down at their 16-yard line with just over a minute and a half left.
How do you think Joe Scannella feels right now?
Well, he's concerned, and I'll tell you, I'll guarantee you George Brancato's concerned too. Brancato called Ferragamo the best passer in football. And he's going for the marbles here, over the head of James Scott. Flag is down, and so is Ferragamo. I think it was Greg Marshall that gave him a shot. Ferragamo effortlessly threw that ball from his own 10-yard line to about the Ottawa 30. 70 yards in the air.
I'll tell you, you don't look tough when you're a quarterback, but you have to be tough because you take a lot of shots. Whether Marshall was early or late, the official called it. The point is, Ferragamo had to absorb the punishment.
1:21 left in the ball game. A rough play penalty against Ottawa gives Montreal first down at their 31. The Owls need 3 to tie, and a touchdown would win it for them. Passes to Mark LaSalle underneath the coverage. And Ron Fox rides him down at about the 38-yard line. He'll have a gain of about 7.
You got to learn you don't outrun an awful lot of the people in this league. You got to turn it up. He had a little bit better gain before he bellied back.
1:14 left in this game, so that clock is a very, very big factor, Pat. 1 minute, 14 seconds left.
Mark LaSalle, the leading pass receiver for Ferragamo tonight. He's caught 5 for 53 yards. Second and about 3 yards to go for the first down. Ferragamo throws. Keith Credit has the first down at the 46-yard line. And the clock is stopped temporarily. Glenn Cook, 22, made the tackle for Ottawa. Now the Alouettes will not huddle with 54 seconds left. The clock has not started yet. It will when referee Lauren Woods walks away from the ball. There's an Ottawa Rough Rider injured.
A rider is down, and that gives the Alouettes a chance. That's a break for the Alouettes now because they can huddle. Johnson just walking over to the sideline now to get some word from Coach Joe Scannella. I believe that's John Glassford, 76, Pat, but I'm not certain. It appears to be.
Yep. He's played well tonight for Ottawa.
Yes, he has.
The Alouettes, though, are everything they were supposed to be. They're exciting. They can pull it out of the fire like they did against the Argos. Let's see if they can do it again tonight. The minute flag is up. We've got about 54 seconds left to play in this ball game. Montreal trails by 3. Ferragamo throws. Scott could not squeeze it. Ottawa says they intercept. The official on the far side said no, they don't. So Montreal is still alive, but just barely.
Boy, I'll tell you, it was that close. Scott was open. They were in behind him, but he curled in front of that secondary. It would have been a great catch just off the fingertips. Really couldn't bring it down. No question, hit the ground, Pat. Valiant attempt.
There's now 35 seconds left to play.
I think that's Glenn Cook, 22. Valiant attempt by Glenn Cook. You talk about being reckless with yourself. He was going after the ball, fearless about the consequences to himself.
They brought Kelvin Kirk into that defensive secondary. Well, there's no question that Kirk can fly. I mean, he has got all kinds of speed, and they have put him on Billy Johnson. 2nd and 10. The pass goes to Keith Credit. He's got the first down, and he's out of bounds at the Ottawa 47-yard line.
Boy, I'll tell you, this team, the way it comes up with the second down situations, third down gambles, they're just incredible.
29 seconds left to play.
Regardless of the outcome, nobody can deny that the Alouettes are a team that has greatness in it, and it's just beginning to shape.
Reception is made once again by Keith Credit at the 35. That'll be another first down. He's out of bounds. It stops the clock. And Ferragamo will have an opportunity of huddling. He had an opportunity last time, I felt, Mike, but he didn't take the huddle. 25 seconds showing on the clock.
And what tough luck for the Riders to be right now without Glenn Cook, to be without Jim Burrows, having to play Kelvin Kirk on a corner.
Montreal, first down at the Ottawa 35. This is Mark Lassell. He did not get out of bounds. That's a strange call, I think. And a timeout has now been called by the Montreal Alouettes, who will come up with a 2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line with 19 seconds showing on the clock.
Pat, I agree with you entirely. Unless you're playing for the tie, which I can't imagine, it's a strange call because of the way the clock will run, and because even if you get a good play out of it and you make a 10-yard gain, you're down to the 25-yard line, but it forces you to use your timeout and puts you in a more defensive position then as you're trying to battle that clock, and that's really what this is all about right now.
Well, as you look at Ferragamo talking to head coach Joe Scannella, we'll bring you up to date on the stats. He's completed 27 of 40 passes for 364 yards, one of them a touchdown to Billy Johnson. David Overstreet left the ball game. He had scored 2 touchdowns for Montreal, picked up a muscle bruise, and the other touchdown went to Joe Hocko. Kelvin Kirk has 2 touchdowns for Ottawa. Mike Davis has one on an interception of a Ferragamo pass.
You know, you're talking about Ferragamo having to adjust to the Canadian game. You wonder if that wasn't, to some extent, a mental lapse, recalling that he only has 1 timeout per half in this game.
Let's watch him now from the 35-yard line, 2nd and 10. Lots of time, and he's going to the end zone. No good. James Scott tried to make another miraculous catch. He's saying that he was interfered with by Mark Philp, but he was not getting attentive here.
Good coverage by Philp and Rhino. Would have been a miraculous catch, and now a lot of credit, or pardon me, a lot of pressure on number 19, Jerry McGrath.
12 seconds left to play. McGrath's field goal will come from the 42-yard line.
1 for 2 on the night, 1 for 4 on the season. He's got a bit of a win at his back, but not much.
Billy Johnson is down at one knee. Training staff comes out to attend to him, and he's all right as he walks off the field. Remember, after this ball game, we go to Calgary for the Stampeders versus the Hamilton Ticats. But let's watch attentively now. Jerry McGrath will try to tie this ball game for the Alouettes. Jerry DiTilio will spot it at the 42-yard line. It is Ottawa 33, Montreal 30.
Ottawa's playing the psychological game and just called a timeout to allow Jerry McGrath to stand at the 45-yard line and sweat.
Well, that's a good move by the Riders, I think. They don't send anybody into the end zone. They likely will when they see what the result of this kick is. I've never understood this strategy, though, Mike. Why would Randy Rhino be at the 10-yard line?
Well, I suppose the only reason, I don't know.
No, but I mean, either put him on the line of scrimmage or put him in the end zone.
Well, there are circumstances where you're concerned about the single point and all that sort of thing. But right now, the only thing that you'd be concerned about is if the kick was wide and somebody like DiTilio or McGrath, who would be onside, would be able to get it. So for that reason, Rhino's back as opposed to giving pressure.
Total offense, Montreal 486 yards, Ottawa 188. 28 first downs for the Alouettes, 11 for Ottawa, and yet the Alouettes need this field goal to tie it. It is wide. And Randy Rhino concedes the single point. Montreal Alouettes will lose this one by 2 points. What a victory for the Rough Riders. And what a heartbreaking loss for the Alouettes.
Jerry McGrath having a tough start to the 1981 season.
From his field
Jerry
goal.
McGrath alone.
Yeah, but he is having a tough time with his field goals, but he punted extremely well last week against Toronto, and he was certainly a major factor in their victory. And in Calgary, it is 10-1, Stampeders leading Hamilton.
Isn't that a surprise?
It surely is. Ron Calcagni takes a couple of steps back, grounds the ball, and we may have one play left. Well, the Montreal Alouettes rolled up lots of offense, but they had a couple of big plays against them. Calvin Kirk slipped in behind Woodrow Wilson for a long touchdown, and Mike Davis picked off a Ferragamo pass and returned it for a major score, and that was very much a part of this ball game. Calcagni takes the pass from center, goes down, and the Ottawa Rough Riders have surprised the Montreal Alouettes, beating them 33